All right, everybody, here we go. Today is Thursday, July 30th, 2026. My name is Rob Carter. Welcome to the future #1 podcast in America. I've been waiting to do this for quite some time, Isaiah. I didn't know exactly what day, but it dawned on me I should probably do it today with Dr. Darth Fauci and pleading the fifth and the testimony. And
Yes.
I'm watching what's going on social media because I'm a nut job. I pay attention to this entirely too much. I'm completely compulsive. But I'm watching, and the title of the show, if you did not get to see the title of the show, we needed some kind of banner for titles of the show, is the Trump COVID cult. And the reason I want to bring this to your attention, so my Donald Trump fans, hang on a minute, chill out, just calm down. What I think is destroying the country is this left-right paradigm where we are tribal even when we think we're not tribal. So if we see ourselves as Republicans because we loved Ronald Reagan, or fell in love with Bush, or we fell in love with whoever, it doesn't matter. And then you start to adopt the ideology of the Republican Party, and they can move you anywhere they want. Same with the Democrats. Remember, the Democrats used to be against war, Isaiah?
Yep.
Slowly, you become a Democrat, you pay attention to all the things the Democrat says, and then now you're rooting for war in Ukraine, and it's amazing how the tribalism and the connection to a group. George Carlin talks about it all the time. He said, when I meet people individually, they're wonderful. You can see the entire world through their eyes. But when they start to group and they start to collect together, that's when everything goes off the rails. I believe that to be true, just as an observer of society. And I think the Donald Trump supporters must recognize that it wasn't the Democrats, it was the Republicans and the Democrats. So as you're screaming and yelling about Fauci, just remember who put Fauci up front. I'm going to give you all the information today, and then you can tell me where I'm wrong, because I followed this like an insane person, Isaiah. When this started, the COVID con job began. As I told you, I was in China when it all began, so I kind of knew that there was a con job coming our way. And I just studied it every day of my life and watched how Donald Trump reacted to COVID. I watched the people that he put on your screens, like Alex Azar, another con man, Scott Gottlieb, Dr. Fauci, Deborah Birx, Rochelle Walensky, all of them. Absolutely. They just lied through their teeth every day. Every day, every show that they came on, they lied through their teeth, because you could read the research that they were talking about, and it didn't take a brain surgeon to figure out that what they were talking about was not in alignment with the actual research. Dr. Fauci is the front man. He's like Milli Vanilli. He's the lead singer, but he's really not the lead singer. Remember Milli Vanilli? Isaiah, do you remember Milli Vanilli? Milli Vanilli was a very popular pop group back in the 90s. And it was these two black guys with dreadlocks, and they would come out and they would sing these songs. They had like 4 or 5 #1 hits in a row. And then we found out that they weren't the singers. They were on all of the videos, and everybody thought these two guys were the singers, but it was really this person behind the scenes that was doing the songs. They were just the two,
Wizard of Oz style?
yeah, just the two frontmen with the wigs. That is Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci is the lead singer of the COVID con job. But he wasn't the one that wrote the music. He's not the one that put the orchestra together. He's not the one that put the team together. That was the Democrats and the Republicans involved in a major con job. And until people see that for what it is, could be, I pray to God every day, Isaiah. Remember? Jesus, please, every single day. It could be that the one thing that could connect us as a society is recognizing full well that COVID was planned by both parties, by the big corporations, by the hospital administrations, by the insurance companies, by the pharmaceutical companies, all of it. All of it. It ran like clockwork, and what ultimately happened is they didn't care if they killed you. I don't know that killing people was the goal, Isaiah. That I can't tell you. But the goal was to consolidate power, restrict movement, get masks on people's faces so you could isolate them, and really kind of just suck the life out of our society. That was the goal. The methodology was COVID, and I'm going to start before I guess we get there. I'm going to start with this clip number 9, if you don't mind getting that ready. Act for Missouri on at 10:30. So if you're into Missouri politics, we'll get there. I think they want to give some endorsements today, people they think you should vote for. So we'll have Act for Missouri's Michael Compton and Amy Castro on at 10:30. And then we had somebody reach out to us. We have a kind of what would we call it, Isaiah? It's kind of it's the bat line. If you have stories that you want us to cover. So a guy named Jeremy Bush reached out to us through the bat line and said, hey, these flock cameras, let me tell you my story. Just very briefly, he's dating somebody who is getting a divorce from a cop. That cop was using the flock safety cameras to track his ex-wife and stalk her. Same thing happened. KMOV has another story, so that's 2, and they'll be rolling out more and more over time. But we have to remember what these things are all about. That's all. You just have to remember what they're all about. So let's start with the COVID con job and where it just things that have happened that would lead you to understand that this was organized in advance. In 2010, the Rockefeller Foundation put out something called Lockstep, and it was the Bible for running a pandemic, consolidating power, and isolating our citizens. Okay, so let's start there. I think I've told this story before. I remember seeing either the whole thing or it gets kind of convoluted in your mind after 15 or 20 years. I remember seeing this. I believe I was in New York City. My memory tells me I was in New York City, but who knows anymore, Isaiah, you know what I mean? But I saw this. It was like on public access, and I don't know how I caught it or what happened, but I remember seeing it. So when COVID started to begin, I'm like, man, where did I see that? Was it I remember seeing this guy talk about this exact same scenario. So here we go. This guy's name is Harry Vox. He's an independent reporter, and he was on a local independent television show, like public access, if you remember that back in the day, Isaiah. This is where you could buy time on these kind of obscure channels, and that's where Alex Jones started. That kind of. This guy's name is Harry Vox. Let him tell you about COVID from the year 2010, and this interview is from 2014, and you tell me if he doesn't describe exactly what happened in 2020. And also remember that Fauci and Obama both said that a pandemic just exactly like COVID was coming before it ever happened. Clip number 9, Harry Vox.
Establishment has a lot of, they will stop at nothing to complete their toolkit of control, right? So one of the things that has been missing from the toolkit of total control has been quarantines and curfews, right? Mm-hmm. So now, welcome to the new world in America, where to get on a bus, to go through a subway station, if you think that the procedures at the TSA are onerous, right? Guess this is coming to a bus depot near you. It's a more invasive way, and the ruling class needs this.
Okay, so you see, I was going to leave that up there so they can see it. I knew that. So originally aired October 21st, 2014 in New York City, okay? That's why my memory says New York City, because I probably saw that, but I'm almost positive I was in New York when I saw this. What I want people to recognize as he starts to tell the story is that what COVID did was get us in the mindset that we could be tracked and isolated. So as the restrictions went away, he's going to talk about this. As the restrictions went away from COVID, what did they come back with, Isaiah? Flock cameras and AI data centers. And he talks about that. He says, you get conditioned to being tracked. You get conditioned to being isolated. You get conditioned to somebody sticking the needle up your nose. You get conditioned to it. As much as you hate it, big portions of society get conditioned to it. So now you'll hear people say, well, Rob, I mean, flock cameras, they're already watching you on your phone. They're already tracking you on your phone. They're already tracking you on. Yeah, that's the whole point. They have got you conditioned to be okay with losing your right to privacy, losing your right to assemble, losing your right to move about freely without your government tracking your every move. You're conditioned to it already, and you're not even recognizing it. This is the cult behavior that I'm talking about. And it happens to me. It happens to Isaiah. It happens to you out there. These are things that just happen to people over time if they're not aware of it. It's like my father was an alcoholic, right, Isaiah? He was an alcoholic. So when I grew up and I started to party as a young kid, right, you start to do it. The one thing that I think kept me, at least, from going down the wrong road or getting addicted to certain things that would destroy my life was watching what my father went through and then watching him get sober. So there was an awareness there that, be careful. You know, this can ruin your life. This can ruin your relationships. Be very careful. And I think it's the same way here. We are being conditioned, but awareness will keep you out of that conditioning process. So you have to be aware. The first thing to getting sober is to recognize that you have a problem. The first thing to getting out of the box and the paradigm that we are currently in my humble opinion, is to be aware of what's happening. Donald Trump and his administration, whether they were reading script or whether they actually believed it, did the exact same thing as the Democrats, and yet you have the Republicans pointing at the Democrats and not remembering how the whole thing began. So I'm going to show you how it began and how they passed the baton to the Democrats. They just passed the baton. That's all that happened.
You know what's funny is that we say sheeple.
Yes.
That's our term for them, is the sheeple. And I always found it ironic that they talk about herd immunity. They use that term, herd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, herd.
Yeah.
Come on, everyone, we're just a herd.
Right.
We're going together. Let's go walk off the cliff together. Come on.
Exactly. And always remember, when you think about COVID, especially for my Democrat friends who seem to be more susceptible to fear, just remember that COVID was no more dangerous than the seasonal flu. You understand that, right? At the end of the day, the information will show that it was no more dangerous than the seasonal flu because it probably was just a version of the seasonal flu. That's why all the flu cases went away. That's why if you had you died from a car accident, but they tested you with a PCR test and said you had COVID, you were a COVID death. Does everybody know that? I think people on this show know that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So if you died in a car accident and they tested your blood and they said you had COVID in your blood, that was a COVID death. If you had stage 4 cancer and they stuck that thing up your nose and stuck it in the PCR test and they said you had COVID in your blood, it was a COVID death.
We should get someone on. I know COVID's, it's getting a resurgence. We should try to get someone on who had a family member that was labeled as a COVID death that knows that it wasn't a COVID death.
I had one up in Connecticut. The guy said that the person died. I can get him on. He was the former producer of my show. He was the first producer, second producer after my son. And he said that
Not
one
the
of
greatest producer, though, right?
You're the greatest.
I'm just joking.
Very nice. He said one of his friends died, and on the death certificate, it said it was a COVID death, and it wasn't. Wow. So he challenged the hospital because he wanted the COVID death taken off the death certificate, and the hospital settled with him, said, we'll pay for the funeral, we'll pay for everything. It's just too much of a pain in the tail to take this off. God. True story. Okay, so these are the things that were going on right underneath the noses of everybody, and I guarantee you there's a ton of people that will be watching the show either today, later on this afternoon, maybe tonight, maybe in the next week or so, because it's out there forever, who will know exactly what I'm talking about. Somebody in their family died during COVID because they went to the hospital because they were short of breath, and instead of getting prednisone or something that would help them, they got remdesivir. They got stuck on a ventilator. They were given pain medicine to get the ventilator in their mouth, which slowed down their breathing, and ultimately that's what killed them. But they go down as COVID deaths. It was the lady from Russia. I said, what's going on in the hospitals? This was right at the beginning of COVID. I said, what's going on? And she was an epidemiologist from Russia. And she said, Rob, what's going on in the hospitals is called genocide. And I said, genocide? She said, it is genocide. The protocols being used in the hospitals are designed to kill people. It wasn't me saying that. That was an epidemiologist, and I had her send me a resume because I didn't want to put her on my podcast unless she had a resume. She sent me a resume that was like 14 pages long. She's every major institution in America. She had something to do with it. Was or in Missouri, I should say, because she was St. Louis University, Washington University, everything. Just a list, and it was incredible to me. So let's go on. So again, if you're just joining us, we're going to play a video from 2014 from a guy, an independent journalist named Harry Vox. He's referring to the 2010 lockstep document put out by the Rockefeller Foundation that shows exactly what COVID was designed to do, which was to lock you down, consolidate power, transfer money, demoralize society, and get them conditioned to the new world. Check it out. Clip number 9.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Continue on.
Yep, just continue.
Because, let me say, if the ruling class ever saw wide-scale civil unrest, you'd see an Ebola outbreak in America right away.
Okay, so this is, what you see is that Ebola is
another tool in the toolbox of the ruling class to control. Yeah,
to keep down
absolutely,
repression.
positively, 100%. This is a tool.
Right.
Ebola doesn't just magically start spreading. And then we have this doctors that come back here. The white people, of course, live. The 2 whites who got it survived. All the black people that get it die. Right? It's very possible that these one of these NGOs over there is going around with a veil of Ebola or spreading it from a small plane onto villages. The point is to get hundreds of thousands of people infected with it and create the next phase of control. Now, one of the things I'd like to show to back up my my claims here. Here's a document from the Rockefeller Foundation. Rockefeller Foundation, right there. You can zoom in on that, where my finger is. It's called Scenarios for the Future International Development, the Rockefeller Foundation. All right.
What's that say there? Scenarios for the future of technology and international development. Remember what I said originally. So if you go through this, as he does, he kind of walks you through it for just a second. But if you go through it, what you'll see is what they were intending to do. They conditioned people through COVID around the world to accept their lockdowns, to do it for their own safety. Now you hear people, just listen to your surroundings, and you're going to hear people say, what's the big deal with flock cameras? What's the big deal with all of this tracking of people? What is the big deal? They do it through your phones. They do it through, they're already watching every move that you make. A government of, by, and for the people with Fourth Amendment right to privacy protections has now become, now again, 25 years ago, they would have set the streets on fire had they known this was going down. But we have been slowly conditioned to think, well, I got to use my phone. I'm addicted to my phone. You can't take my phone away. It's like my cocaine. You can't take my phone away. So if they're going to track me through my phone, what am I going to do? I can't get rid of my phone. Same with computers, same with flock cameras, same with the idea, at least, of AI data centers, same with 702 warrantless searches, same with the Patriot Act, same with kill switches in your car, same with being monitored in your car by the computer system that you now have to have in every new car. It's obvious what is happening, but again, when you're in a cult, you don't see the obvious. That's why Jim Jones said, drink the Kool-Aid. It'll be great. Same with Fauci. All right, Harry Vox, continue on. This is, again, scenarios in the lockstep, I don't even know what this would be called, white paper sent out by the Rockefeller Foundation in the year 2010.
Now, look at that, too. The Global Business Network.
Exactly.
Right there in the bottom right corner, it says that.
Right. Thank you, Isaiah. Remember what it was. What did I always say COVID was about?
Globalization.
Globalization. That's why when you see Donald Trump in the middle of it and you go, Donald Trump, he's breaking against the globalist. I'm like, okay, well, maybe. I'm not discounting your gut feeling that Donald Trump is, on the side of right. But as Isaiah and I were talking about before the show, there's nowhere in the Bible, if you're a Christian at least, there's nowhere in the Bible where it says lie to people continually for their own good. Does it ever say anything like that in the Bible, Isaiah? Anything in the Bible that says we must lie to the American people, we must influence them, scare them, petrify them, and sell them a bill of goods for their own ultimate.
No, you actually asked me to look up.
I don't know.
Yeah, you asked me to look up some verses right before the show. We only had about 5 minutes before we hopped on, and so I pulled some verses here for you. Says in Exodus and in Deuteronomy, so in Exodus 20, and then it also says in Deuteronomy 5, this is when the 10 commandments are being given. It says, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. Leviticus 19:11 says, do not steal, do not lie, do not deceive one another. Let's jump to the New Testament now, because some people are going to come after me for just citing the Old Testament. So now we go to the New Testament, and it says Ephesians 4:25, therefore, having put away falsehood, let each one of you speak the truth with his neighbor. Colossians 3:9, do not lie to one another.
Okay. So what I'm saying is, with Donald Trump, that he was a part of this. You're going to tell me that, Rob, they were going to shut down society, the whole world was going to go to hell in a handbasket if Donald Trump did at least play the game. That's not what he didn't just play the game. He sold vaccines. Donald Trump sold vaccines harder than Mike Lindell sells pillows, because I followed it every word from start to finish. And I'm just telling you, there's a big difference between trying to tell people, okay, take hydroxychloroquine and this and that and the other. He was selling vaccines before they ever came out. The contracts were written before they came out. It was run through the Department of Defense, if you want to listen to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And then they slapped the label Pfizer. They slapped the label Moderna on it. This was a government operation, a military operation. Go ahead.
Okay, let's take a look at what they're saying here. This is something like a 50, 60-page document. I'd like you to go to page 18, if you can look at this up on the internet, but I'll read it off to you. It's called lockstep, lockstep. And this is a phrase that I used right after 2001, when I saw the entire system of the United States, including the population, were in lockstep. So the Congress went along, and yes, it was Osama bin Laden, and the people waved their flag and said, I hate, 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 and everything was in lockstep. Well, in 2010, they published this, Rockefeller Foundation, and here's what they're saying. They're saying that they call it a scenario. These are scenario narratives, and they speak about it in the past tense. So they put out this scenario, lockstep. A world of tighter, top-down government control and more authoritarian leadership with limited innovation and growing citizen pushback. Okay, I'll read a little bit of it. In 2012, the pandemic that the world had been anticipating for years, nobody was anticipating a pandemic, finally hit. Unlike 2009's H1N1, this new influenza strain originating from wild geese, they use some scenario, but this is Ebola they're talking about. Even the most pandemic-prepared nations were quickly overwhelmed when the virus streaked around the world, infecting nearly 20% of the global population and killing 8 million in just 7 months, the majority of them healthy young adults. The pandemic also had a deadly effect on economies. You can see the agenda. Just naked, raw, naked control agenda written down, and it's anybody's guess how this becomes effectuated in real life. So whether this is written specific.
He said, we don't know how this is going to effectuate itself in the future. Now we know.
Yep.
So here's a guy in 2014 on this little unknown show, this little, I would guess it's a public access channel. And he's telling the world that this is getting ready to happen. Be aware that a pandemic is coming. They're going to praise China for their lockdowns. They're going to transfer wealth. They're going to make you wear masks. They're going to make you take communal checks. He tells you everything that's getting ready to happen in 2014 because the Rockefeller Foundation wrote something called Lockstep in 2010, and they followed it basically to the letter. Continue on, Isaiah. I just want people to understand that when people say, how can you tell that this was a con job, Rob? I mean, how can you possibly know? Well, to me, it's so obvious. I don't even understand why I have to explain it. Did you not watch what happened? Did you not see what happened? Small businesses destroyed. Just think of how they organized it. Your church closed. Your small businesses were destroyed. And Walmart and Lowe's and Target were open. They called people essential workers and non-essential workers. Are you a non-essential worker? I was a non-essential worker. So I was non-essential. Is that a term that you want to be called non-essential by your government? I don't think so. More with Harry Vox. Again, this is in 2014, explaining the pandemic that was coming, called COVID, 5 years before anybody ever knew what was going on. Go ahead.
Specifically as marching orders, or whether people take it upon themselves in the intelligence networks to say, okay, well, this has been produced, so this is the plan here. But these narratives have to be written in advance because the intelligence agencies don't know how to do these narratives. They need help. So these think tanks, they come up with these, like Rand Corporation, Rockefeller Foundation. These are think tanks of death. They're not the think tanks. They're not there to find great ways to help people. Right. Okay, the pandemic also had a deadly effect on economics. International mobility of both people and goods screeched to a halt, right? Which is what they want. They want a completely isolated world, right? Debilitating industries like tourism and breaking global supply chains. Well, of course they want tourism stopped because they're not in the tourism business, and they want you at home in your house in front of the TV. Then they got you, because once you watch the TV, they own your soul. Even locally.
Wait a second, we're on television.
I mean commercial television, let's say. National. Even locally, normally bustling shops and offices sat empty for months. Okay, so I love how they talk about it in the past tense in 2010. Right? The pandemic blanketed the planet, though disproportionate numbers in Africa died. Southeast Asia and Central America, where the virus spread like wildfire.
It sounds like the opening monologue of a disaster movie, right?
Exactly. Now listen here's the good stuff now. But even in developed countries, containment was a challenge. Now here's this one. I love this one. The United States' initial policy of strongly discouraging, in quotation marks, strongly discouraging citizens from flying proved deadly in its leniency. So they're saying, that...
No, keep going.
Okay,
read it.
Proved deadly in its leniency. So they should have been tougher, right? Accelerating the spread of the virus, not just within the United States, but across borders. However, a few countries did fare better. China, in particular. The Chinese government's quick imposition.
China did the best. Now, if you remember, when the pandemic was going on, the establishment came out and said, look how well China is doing with the lockdowns. And then we locked down travel from China. Does everybody remember that? We locked down travel. You couldn't travel into the United States. You couldn't travel to or from China. But China at the time, now most people won't remember this, but at the time, our establishment was praising China for their strict lockdowns. Continue on, Isaiah.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And enforcement of mandatory quarantine for all citizens, as well as its instant and near hermetic sealing off of all borders, saved millions of lives, stopping the spread of virus far earlier than in other countries. So the message is here is we have to look towards the Chinese, the oppressive totalitarian Chinese regime as an example of what we need to be doing here. And of course, the ruling class here loves the Chinese regime because they have demonstrated to the ruling class the most efficient form of capitalism, which is authoritarian capitalism. So we have capitalism, but unfortunately we have this veil.
I get it.
We have this veil of democracy.
This is very interesting. This is continue on.
Okay. Okay. China's government was not the only one that took extreme measures to protect its citizens from risk and exposure. During the pandemic, national leaders around the world flexed their muscles, flexed their authority, and imposed airtight rules and restrictions. You can see the agenda.
Okay, go.
Okay. From the mandatory wearing of face masks to body temperature checks at the entries to communal spaces like
that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, but soon it's going to be like body.
It'll be at the subway.
Yeah, well,
is that what you're saying? We'll be going through this in the sub to get on buses and the subway, things
positively.
Like that.
And what this means though is don't think about having a cigarette, a joint on you, or I mean, basically you can't. This is a dragnet for everything. So if in order for you
in other words, just like with stop and frisk, this is ultimate stop and frisk.
This is the ultimate cavity stop and frisk, cavity search kind of thing. All right, so during the pandemic, national leaders around the world flex their authority. Now there's some good stuff. Listen to this. And even supermarkets, they want body checks at supermarkets. Okay, so basically what they're saying is they're building a system where every move you make, you got to go through them.
You can't get food. Well, how about if you go to the farmer's market?
Right. Here's the good stuff now. I mean, it just keeps getting better. Even after the pandemic faded, this more authoritarian control and oversight of citizens and their activities stuck. And even intensified. That's the whole point. So they're going to get rid of...
Didn't that happen already with 9/11?
Of course.
9/11 was...
Is it unbelievable when you hear it? So again, what he's saying is after COVID ended, it was 2 years of torturing our society. Democrats picked up the baton from Donald Trump. And as you look at this is what I mean about tribalism. Like here's Crypto Santa, this person here. So Crypto Santa says, it sounds like a leftist hiding as a patriot. So the guy that's reading from the Rockefeller Foundation, I don't think that's a right-wing organization, about what was going to happen in the future based on what the Rockefeller Foundation said in lockstep was about the pandemic that we all experienced. They laid out key points as to what was going to happen during lockstep. Then you go to Event 201 in October of 2019, held at Johns Hopkins University and ran by, you remember who ran that one? That was Billy Gates who ran that one. Had the CIA there. They were talking about how to answer questions because the society was going to go, wait a minute, locking us down. What are you doing? They had to answer all the questions and they gave them the answers to all of the questions. This isn't about Democrat or Republican. And the more people get caught up in Democrat and Republican politics, the more we move. I think the more we move outside of reality, and the further you get away from reality, the more danger your country is in. That's my take on it. This is not a Democrat and Republican situation. This is your government sucks. Your government has been infiltrated and taken over. Big corporations run our country. They determine the bills. They don't read the bills. How many times do I have to say that? You have people that are making millions of dollars when they go off to Washington, D.C. that vote on how you're going to live your life and vote on bills they don't even read. And you tell me they're not puppets? They don't read the bills, and then they sign off on the bills that they don't read, and you have to be governed by it, and you can't figure out. And I'm talking about this audience. I'm talking about the world. This audience knows what's going on, except for maybe my Crypto Santa over there. Okay? And it's easy to see. That's the point. It's easy to see. That's why I say we have to pray. We have to get out of this cult-like mentality. We have to quit saying that Donald Trump didn't mandate anything, Isaiah. He's only the most influential person on planet Earth telling you day in and day out to go get your vaccines.
Didn't we just play the clip from Fox and Friends the other day on Tuesday, I think it was, when he went on Fox and Friends and said Operation Warp Speed is the greatest success any president has ever had?
Exactly. And then you'll have the Trump cultists, and there's a few of them that listen to this show that are probably turning it off now because they can't hear anything different. I apologize to you people. And I'm just saying you're not thinking clearly at this particular moment in time, especially not on this issue.
We were there. We're not coming after
I was there. Are
Yeah.
you kidding me? I was the number one cheerleader. I was worse than anybody that's listening. I was the biggest cheerleader for Donald Trump in the history of the world. But just through circumstances, I started to realize that I was being misled, especially on COVID. If he's got some big Machiavellian game going on behind the scenes, fine. But through COVID, many friends of mine perished, died. There are many people that are listening to this show died because they took vaccines that they didn't need them, never needed them, and both the Democrats and Republicans sold them to you. So let me get into this scenario. Let me start with Melania Trump. Now, do you think that Melania Trump has a big, large background in epidemiology, Isaiah, the first lady of America? Do you think that she goes, I know all about these vaccines. I've studied them my entire life, and I know how good they're going to be for you. So make sure when those vaccines come out, you run and grab them. At the same time, her husband was running a campaign called Drain the Swamp in the 2016 election. Well, what did they think the swamp was? The swamp were the lobbyists and the politicians that were in the same game together and lying to you over and over again so they could get whatever they wanted from you. That's what the swamp is. And Donald Trump was running his election on the idea of draining the swamp, at the same time allowing the swamp into his offices, apparently, and selling him that if we didn't shut down the entire society, everybody was going to die of the flu. Restricted the medicines that would help you and sold the medicines that would kill you. Facts. Absolute facts. And I get so frustrated with people because this happened under both the Democrats and the Republicans. And now let me prove that to you. Sorry for getting aggravated.
And abs 10,
how many people have to die, Isaiah, before people go?
Oh, I know.
I'm not.
No, that's why we're frustrated with this, is because not only did people die, but no one's being held accountable for what happened. And so that's what's most frustrating. And even hear what Abs 10 says. Trump just said he respects Biden's pardon.
We're gonna get there. Don't jump ahead, Abs. Abs 10 must have like
she's a political savant.
Must have a six pack or something. Abs 10. I need Abs 10.
I don't know if it's a he or she, but
the Abs 6.
A six pack.
All right, Melania Trump. But number 3, this is Melania Trump. I talked about this as it was happening because she came down to Tampa, and when the local news was covering it, and she's out there, get your vaccines as soon as they come. It is the Democrats that are telling you not to take the vaccines. The vaccines are good, and you have to take the vaccines as soon as they come out. Look how hot I am. You should take the vaccines because I'm hot and Donald Trump's wife, and you should take the vaccines because they're going to be bad and good for you. We made them in warp speed time. They're so fantastic. Bill Gates is behind it. How could it be bad?
Yeah.
Ridiculous nonsense. And I called it out at the time. So this isn't revisionist history for me. I was calling it out at the time that it was happening. It was insane. And you just have to remember the love affair with Donald Trump clouded everybody's thinking like, well, she's beautiful. Donald Trump is the greatest man in the world. He's going to save us from globalism. He's going to steal back the keys to the kingdom from the Obama administration. Everything's going to be great. So everything he says, I'm going to fall in line with. And just because you didn't take these vaccines, based on the recommendation of Donald Trump and Melania Trump and Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi and this whole group, millions did. Millions took the advice of their leadership and said, well, if Donald Trump says it's good, I trust Donald Trump. You don't think anybody did that? My Donald Trump friends, you don't think that anybody went, well, if Donald Trump says they're healthy and Donald Trump says I need to take them, I trust Donald Trump, I'm going to take him. You don't think anybody was thinking that at the time?
Oh, honestly? I met plenty of them, especially in the boomer generation.
I know a ton of people that said, well, Trump's saying they're safe. At the time, I said, I know Trump's saying they're safe, but they're not. Don't take these things. Don't be ridiculous. These things are not going to be healthy for you. And they did it. All right. Melania Trump, clip number 3. Check it out.
To thank our amazing frontline workers for all they are doing. It is in times like this that we will look back and tell our grandchildren that through kindness and compassion, strength and determination, we were able to restore the promise of our future. One thing I know for certain is that under my husband's leadership, we will not be in for a dark winter. Our country is one of hope and promise. We are not a country of fear or weakness. We will continue working with our medical professionals and researchers to ensure our children continue to grow up in the safest and most prosperous nation. I believe in our incredible doctors, nurses, and scientists. Because of our amazing medical capabilities and resources, we are in the process of developing powerful therapeutics and vaccine. Our opponents are trying to politicize a vaccine that could save millions of lives during a global pandemic.
Okay, you get that last part? That's good,
You're
Isaiah.
not supporting the safe
Wait, let that go. Let that go. I apologize. I jumped the gun.
production of a vaccine. You're not supporting the health and safety.
Can you rewind it 10 or 15
Yeah,
seconds?
of course. Absolutely.
My apologies. I messed that
There
up.
is no room for politics and resources. Our opponents are trying to politicize a vaccine that could save millions of lives during a global pandemic.
Our
You're
opponents.
not supporting the safe production of a vaccine. You're not supporting the health and safety of the American people.
That's good. If you're not supporting these vaccines,
no-
you're not supporting the health of the American people. That was what this was over and over and over. This wasn't like a one-time thing.
No.
This was their campaign in 2020. That was their campaign. They went around to all of their rallies, and part of their campaign speeches said, "Go get your vaccines. I, Donald Trump, am putting warp speed together for you, baby. I got the vaccines coming. I got the vaccines coming. I'm the guy that can bring the vaccines to you. Me, Donald Trump. I know how to get this done. I can work through the FDA. I can get poison into your system. Vaccines into your system, lickety split. It's not going to be a problem." And that's what they sold to the American people. And you have to recognize that, because you sound idiotic fighting against people and saying, "See, the Democrats are for the vaccines." Donald Trump sold this vaccine in 2020, again, harder than Mike Lindell sells pillows. And that is a fact, Isaiah. That is a fact, Jack.
That's the fact, Jack. That's the fact, Jack.
All right, let's go on to Donald Trump if you don't believe me. Let's go to clip number 2. There he is, Operation Warp Speed, with everybody wearing their masks. Clip number 2, and fast forward to about 55 seconds or so, Isaiah, if you can get to about the 55-second mark. And if you don't believe me, let's just listen to what Donald Trump said, because you got to remember, when Donald Trump was telling everybody to get their vaccines, the Democrats were saying, "Don't take the vaccines." I wouldn't take anything from Donald Trump. And he kept going at the Democrats, saying they don't want to open up society. They don't want their children to be safe. They're just lying to you. Get your vaccines as fast as you can. That was the message coming out of the Trump administration. That's just what was going on. All right, clip number 2, about 55 seconds in. Let's start there.
No, I will not take this word.
Under my leadership, we'll produce a vaccine in record time. Biden and his very liberal running mate, the most liberal person in Congress, by the way, is not a competent person, in my opinion, would destroy this country and would destroy this economy, should immediately apologize for the reckless anti-vaccine rhetoric that they are talking right now, talking about endangering lives, and it undermines science. And what's happening is all of a sudden you'll have this incredible vaccine, and because of that fake rhetoric, it's a political rhetoric. That's all it
Good,
is.
Isaiah.
It's for politics. 'Cause now
Do I have it right? Do I have it right that he's saying,
yeah.
Now, this was the beginning, because people forget the beginning and they remember the end. At the beginning, Donald Trump was telling you that the Democrats were wrong to say these vaccines could hurt you. He was telling you that it was political rhetoric, that you should go out and get those vaccines as fast as you possibly can. And it was the Democrats that were trying to hold up progress. And he trusted the science, and you should trust the science, because Dr. Darth Fauci and the NIH and the CDC, the swamp that everybody that was paying attention to politics at the time understood, were telling you to go get vaccines, because they are in alignment with the pharmaceutical companies. If you don't understand how the system works, you take pharmaceutical executives, you bring them into the administration, they sell vaccines, then they go back to their private companies and get big bonuses because they got things approved in our government. Slowly. You got a guy working for, let's just say Pfizer, for example. All right, just a hypothetical. You got a guy working for Pfizer. You bring him into the FDA. He works along with the FDA to get his drugs through the FDA, and then he leaves and goes back to Pfizer and gets a big bonus. That's the swamp. That's what we're talking about. That's how the lobby system works.
Isn't that what the Sackler family showed us with the whole opioid crisis? That's exactly what had happened?
Yes, and don't let Donald Trump off the hook with this. If you want to support him, great. If you think he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, fine. That's not the point. Donald Trump selling vaccines. This is one of two things that you have to believe. Number one, you have to believe that he was misled by Anthony Fauci, rat face, the NIH, the CDC, everything. He was misled. But Robb wasn't misled. He's the genius playing 5D chess. I was selling shoes, and I understood it more so than the president of the United States. Does anybody think that that's possible?
Man, you must be the smartest shoe salesman in the
paying
world, Rob.
And let me just a little bit further for my Trump fans.
Political savant, if you forgot that about
Political
yourself.
savant, exactly. Thank you, Isaiah. Very nice of you. I take that. But part two is, would you, as anybody that's ever ran anything, even a family, would you go out publicly knowing that people were going to really be hanging on every word that you said? You're a leader and an influential person. Would you tell people to go out and stick a needle in their arm with a medicine with no safety record? You have no idea whether it's going to work, not work, don't work, could work, might work, should work, could kill, who knows? You have no idea. And go out and sell that every day for people to take it as fast as they can. Just think about your common sense. Forget about everything else that happened. Your common sense. Would you go out and tell people to take a drug from Pfizer and Moderna with no safety record as fast as you can possibly get it for COVID? All the numbers were being manipulated. I showed that the third episode that I did on my podcast way back in 2021. I said, well, this is clear data manipulation. How can people not see this? This is like when people come in and they try to sell you something, Isaiah. You know, when when you make decisions on money, people will come in and they'll try to sell you marketing or something, and they'll say, you know, we can double. You know, the last business we did, we doubled their revenue. I'm like, well, how much is the revenue? Well, $100. So we doubled it to $200. Manipulating data in the minds of people. And they manipulated the data with COVID from the very beginning. Obvious as the nose on anybody's face who is not completely brainwashed. When the government comes out and tells you that if you have stage 4 cancer and we test you for COVID and you die, that goes down as a COVID death, how much more information would it take for you to recognize they were trying to sell COVID? And why was selling COVID important? Because selling COVID sold fear. What do you get out of fear? You get the waiting line for the COVID vaccines.
Mm-hmm. Number one rule of marketing is make someone feel something.
That's right. I said at the time, I used to make the argument. I said, they're selling COVID in this manner. If I were to go around the back of your house and throw rocks through your window, and then the next day knock on your door and sell you new windows, in your mind, wouldn't you go, well, that's kind of odd. Nobody's ever knocked on my door to sell windows before, but my windows getting knocked out yesterday and somebody's knocking on my door. That's how obvious this was. But we couldn't see it because it's Democrat, Republican. I love Donald Trump. I hate Donald Trump.
Yeah.
That's what it was, tribal. Nobody had the ability to think through how ridiculous the scenarios actually were.
That's how I feel about the Amendment 5 situation right now. I know we'll get more into that with the Act for Missouri, but it's just the volatility and the name calling and the ad hominem attacks of, if you don't agree, then you're a Democrat. And I see that same structure.
Correct.
Here with COVID. He's, Melania, if they don't agree, it's the opposition that doesn't agree. That's right. And he's saying these Democrats, they're trying to stop vaccine production.
Exactly. And just very quickly, do you think that Donald Trump doesn't understand selling techniques?
The art of the deal.
But do you think that he just understands selling? Like you and I study selling. We've had to sell before. And we understand
I'm sure he's done conferences where he trained people.
How you paint things in people's minds, how you sell things. Donald Trump sold these. He used every technique in the book to sell these. Sold them. I'm not saying he mandated them, but he sold them without any understanding of the dangers associated. And so you have to make the determination, is he just a big dummy and got fooled, or was he complicit? I say he was complicit for one reason only. He is the one, along with the Democrats and the Republicans in power, sold you on the CARES Act. Mm-hmm. The CARES Act was that was the payoff. That was the win. That was the yes, baby. Mm-hmm. That was the boom. That's what the whole thing was about. It's just depressing. Okay. Let's go to Donald Trump. If you don't think he was selling the vaccines, and I mean selling the vaccines, listen to him sell vaccines and listen to the audience going, no, 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 no. And he argues with his audience. Clip number 5.
You know, we took care of a lot of people, including, I guess, on December 21st, we took care of Joe Biden because he got his shot. He got his vaccine. He forgot. It shows you how unpainful that vaccine shot is. So everybody go get your shot.
It works incredibly well, 95%, maybe even more than that. It works incredibly well. And I would recommend it to a lot of people that don't want to get it. And a lot of those people voted for me, frankly. But, you know, again, we have our freedoms and we have to live by that. And I agree with that also. But it's a great vaccine. It's a safe vaccine. And it's something that works.
I recommend you take it, but I also believe in your freedoms 100%.
When you have the vaccine, people that do, and it's a very small number relatively, but people that do get it get better much quicker. And it's a very important thing to know. They don't get nearly as sick, and they get better. Lindsey Graham's an example. He said, if I didn't have this vaccine, I would have died.
And you know what? I believe totally in your freedoms. I do. Bree, you got to do what you have to do.
What a great quote about Lindsey Graham.
I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccines. But you got, no, that's okay. That's all right. You got your freedoms. But I happen to take the vaccine.
The vaccines do work, and they are effective.
See, this is the difference between communism and fascism, okay? He says you have your freedoms. Let me explain to you why you don't have your freedoms. Let's say that you're a father. I can only go as a father because I'm a father, I'm not a mother. So I'm just going to say fathers, for example. If I'm a father and I'm raising 3 kids, and I'm the breadwinner in my family, and a big corporation says they're going by CDC guidelines, and if you don't get your vax and your double vax, and if you don't wear your mask every day, and if you don't stand on the dots, and if you don't wear bubble wrap flippers and a football helmet, then you can't work for us. Is that free? You tell me if that's free. When the entire society is shut down, and you've got a job, and you're the sole breadwinner for your family, and you can't keep your job and feed your family unless you get vaccinated, does it matter whether it's mandated by the government or not? Think for a second.
Doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be. Exactly. If they take your ability to eat away, then it's mandated whether you like it or not. It's mandated in your own mind. You can't raise your family. Just remember when Donald Trump was the president, all these corporations shut down. And then when they opened back up, you had to be vaccinated to keep your job. My son lost his job out in California because he wouldn't get vaccinated. My wife was going to lose her job. She's a nurse in Florida. She was going to lose her job. She went up to within the last week of not getting vaccinated. And crazy story about this, Isaiah. In the hospital administration where she works, she showed me it as it was going on because we were freaking out that she was going to have to take these vaccines. I think it was 42 or 43%, if memory serves, got the vaccine willingly. And then the messaging comes out from her hospital administration saying, if you don't have the vaccine by this date, you'll be out of work. So between the 42% and the end date, I think it went to 97 or 98%. Now that's, you think of it as a huge hospital administration. That is not freedom. It is not freedom to take the livelihood away from people because the laws were put forth by the corporations.
And
That's
even
fascism.
in my friend, his girlfriend, it was a speech pathologist for the VA. And she got fired. Well, she didn't get fired. She quit before she was going to get fired because she had a religious exemption. And they said, hey, that's not good anymore. You got to get the vaccine.
Right.
And that's the VA. That is the government telling her that she has to get it or you're fired.
I was at a concert down in Tampa. And, you know, my wife was a little bit, it took her a while to come to my conclusions. She had to see it firsthand. And I was telling her what was happening. I told her what I thought was happening. And she's working in the hospitals. And she wasn't 100. Eventually, she got there right along with me. But in that meantime, we were down at a concert in Tampa. And this car parked next to us. This is one of the deals where people are tailgating and they're drinking and this. So we start talking to these people that are next to us. And he starts telling his story. I said, what do you, I think he at some point said he had just moved from New York. I said, oh, you moved from New York? I said, why'd you move down here? And he said, oh, me and my family generations, we had a pizza parlor in I think he said Brooklyn, if I'm not mistaken. My wife will remember. We had a pizza parlor and we couldn't keep it open. We couldn't keep it open because of the COVID restrictions. So we had to bail. And he said, and then we couldn't afford to live in New York. So we moved down to Florida. Think about that. This is a pizza parlor that was generational. His grandparents had it. His parents had it. He had it. He wanted to give it to his kids. And because of the restrictions in New York City, they shut everything down. He doesn't have a paycheck. Now he's freaking out. Now he has to move his family.
Yeah. That was something that Dave Portnoy did that I thought was really cool during COVID was giving money to businesses that were struggling and dying.
Right. Dave Portnoy was a big part of that. He was the one that was showing everybody how they were losing their businesses. This happened under the Republicans and Donald Trump. Just because he didn't mandate it does not mean he didn't get just as many people vaccinated or genetic therapy, however you want to look at it, as the Biden administration.
And you don't have to, like you said, you don't have to mandate it if you're the leader of the free world telling everyone that it's great. I got it. You should too. I recommend it. That's exactly what I would tell someone when I'm selling something to them.
Correct. A leader not complicit in the game. I've made this argument many times, Isaiah, so thank you very much again. I made this argument as it was happening. I said a leader would say, you got to do what your heart tells you to do. Do your research, figure out what's going on here. And if you want to take the vaccine, it'll be available to you. We do not recommend that any corporation mandate these vaccines because this is just an unknown. We don't know what's going on here. And we recommend that you just make up your own mind as a citizen. Do your research, talk to your doctor, talk to your, read the research that's online, understand what is happening.
Like any other vaccine?
But do not take my advice for it because I, Donald Trump, am not a doctor. So I can't tell you whether, or I'm not an epidemiologist. I'm not a virologist. I can't tell you to be sticking needles in your arm. That's not my role. Okay. But that's not what happened. And that's why I'm so skeptical of what is happening now, because now that Donald Trump has reversed everything that he said he was going to do in 2016. And now I don't know. I don't want to go through the list again, but he's at a different place than he was in 2016. Let's just put it that way. Okay. Because I don't want to get off track. Let's go back to Donald Trump selling the vaccine so everybody remembers.
And here's my thing. I think I saved many. I don't think. I know. I saved millions and millions of lives throughout the world. We could have had another Spanish flu. We could have had, in 1917, close to 100 million people died, they say. But it was really bad. And now other countries are using our vaccines and, tremendous. They're tremendously successful.
You're playing right into their hands when you sort of like, the vaccine. If you don't want to take it, you shouldn't be forced to take it. No mandates, but take credit because we saved tens of millions of lives. Take credit. Don't let them take that away from you.
Okay, so the president made news.
Do you agree with that? Right?
Both the president and I are vaxxed, and did you get the booster?
Yes.
I got it too. Okay, so
Don't, come on.
You understand where I'm coming from, Isaiah? Do you see it? There's a difference between making a vaccine available and selling it with every inch of your being. And that's what Donald Trump did. And trust me when I tell you, he influenced millions of people, many who are now dead because they took those vaccines that they never needed. Nobody needed that vaccine. Not old people, not young people, not fat people, not skinny people, not black people, not white people, not Jewish people, not Muslim. Nobody needed the vaccines. You know who needed the vaccines? The government needed the vaccines because the government, well, I'll let you figure out what the government is. I'm not going to say it. I don't want to get myself.
Shankovich here, just letting you know they appreciate you for always continuing on because of how much you were ostracized for talking about it at the old station.
Yeah. They didn't like me talking about COVID. I got it was twice where I got a text where I was ranting about COVID and I got a text, move on. Nobody cares about COVID anymore. Okay.
I bet they feel really stupid now.
Can we show the cult now? I just want to show this. I think, can we just show if something's on Facebook, even if it's a private citizen, can we show it? I think it's public.
It's public,
point, right?
Yeah, public, of course.
So let's show clip number 6. This guy's name is Mark Schmitz. And I just happened to be going through my feed and I saw that there was a lot of communication on this particular post. And I just want to show you what cult thinking looks like. It's tribal. I really think tribalism is the key. You hate, some people hate the Democrat Party or hate the Republican Party so much that they have to take the other team's advice on everything. If I hate the Democrats, if I've determined the Democrats are this horrible demonic force, then anybody that says I'm aligned with them, well, that hurts me. So I have to be aligned with this team. Well, what if both teams suck ass? Sorry for the language. What if both teams are complicit with one another? Have you thought of that? I know this audience has. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but this goes out into clips and people see it, and that's why I talk like this. I apologize to this audience. I know my audience knows what's going on. But if they're working in tandem because the puppet masters are controlling the money, then even though they may fight in this space, the outcomes are coming from the people pulling the strings. So it ends up being a fake fight, whether you like it or not, whether the person is complicit or just stupid. Doesn't matter.
It's like a basketball game when they throw the game.
That's exactly what it is.
Because they've already predetermined, pre-organized, saying this team's going to win, this team's going to lose. Because if this happens, then we can bet on this here in Las Vegas. We can get this windfall of cash because this team lost, and then everyone's still happy. They don't care that they lost.
That's exactly right. Thank you. and think about the way the society looked at it when the stock market started going up because they took $2.2 trillion out of your pocket, and that made its way through the government and onto Wall Street. And then the stock market started to go up. And you went, look at this. My stock market's going up. How fantastic is this? Isn't it wonderful? Sure, a few million people had to die, but at least the stock market's up. The stock market's at 50,000. That's what we should be talking about, in the infamous words of Pam Bondi. Okay. Now let's go to Mark Schmitz. Let's show the post that he put out onto. I don't know this person. I don't know who Mark Schmitz is. This is what he puts out. Can you read that for me?
Yeah. Serious question to my Democrat friends. Were you satisfied with the praising and glorifying of Dr. Fauci today by Democrat senators? Or do you wish they would have actually asked legitimate questions to try to get to the bottom of everything? Not that he would have answered a single damn question.
Now let's go through the replies. Michael Burton is a Democrat himself, but what's Rick Pogue say?
Yep, Democrat senators.
Wait. What kind of senators?
Democrat senators.
Okay. All right.
As well as the rest of the Democrats in Congress are complicit and willing to lie to the very end to defend what happened during COVID. They loved the power it gave the government and their cause. We cannot rely on any Democrats to be of help.
All right, what's Rita say? I don't know what all these say.
No, I'm just scrolling down. I thought it was funny when Fauci thought the session was over. He put his cheat sheet away, which he should have had memorized after saying it 100 times. They asked him another question, and he quickly got it out again. That's funny. Right, I did notice that he read it every single time off the sheet. He didn't want to mess up.
All right, the next guy, Brian Cody, says Josh Hawley rocked. We got his clip.
Yeah, because I had my friends. My friends were texting me. They were like, "Oh my gosh, Josh Hawley did this," and I didn't want to break their feeling. I didn't want to hurt their feelings.
Josh Hawley's a Republican, right?
Yeah. Okay. I wonder if he will record in a new diary all the wonderful things said about him today by the Dems. That's funny.
Dems, yep. So they're Democrats again.
Mm-hmm. Trump should designate the Democrats as a terrorist organization. They are anti-USA. Wow.
This is cult behavior.
Mm-hmm.
This is cult behavior. This is tribalism at its very best.
This is a good one right here. Here's Dave. Makes you wonder how many in each party didn't take the jab.
Uh-huh.
They can agree. It's the one thing they could agree on. They fight every single day about what, like you said, whether the sky is blue or purple, whether today's Thursday or Wednesday.
Look how many times Democrats are mentioned? When I went through there, it was like 3 out of every 5, or however you want to look at it, 60% mentioned Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
When the Republican Party and Donald Trump is the one who sold it.
Yeah. Democrats. You still have Democrats, Democrat Congress members. Oh, wow. I'm registered as a Republican and voted for Trump the first time. He is out of his mind this time, but I voted for no Republicans the last time because of the abortion issue. I also didn't vote for Harris. Wrote my dead father in. He was the best out of the 3. Wow.
Look at the trap that they're in mentally. All of these people.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the trap, Democrat versus Republican. They cannot see past that lens. They cannot recognize that this government is fake. The Democrat-Republican argument is just not real. Not real in the outcomes. Not that a Democrat that's running for House or running for the Senate doesn't have conservative views and the other might have liberal views, but the outcome continues to be the same. Donald Trump sells COVID. Melania sells COVID. Mitch McConnell sells COVID. They tell you to go out and get your vaccines. They tell you they're double boosted. Then they turn it over to Biden, who makes it mandatory within the government. And then now all the Republicans can say is, well, he didn't mandate it. Yeah, if you remember, Rob, he didn't mandate it. Like that's got anything to do with the big picture. It just doesn't. And you guys got to start. I'm just telling you, the people that pick this up on the clips, you got to start remembering that it is a one-party system run by corporate interest. The people that are voting on this legislation in Washington, D.C. do not read the bills that govern you. They do not read the bills that govern you. Most of them have no idea what's in these bills. When we were in Jefferson City, Isaiah, did the entire body come back in to vote on a bill, and you saw one particular senator going, vote yes on this one, vote yes. They don't even know what they're voting on.
Oh, no.
Did you see it?
Yeah, that's what she's. Oh, was it Mary Elizabeth Coleman? Right? Oh, no.
I didn't even see it. You guys recognized it. I didn't see it as it was happening. But these people are walking in. They're not even paying attention to the bills they're getting ready to vote on. And as they're walking in, the 3 or 4 people that stayed around to hear the debate go, vote no on this. It's unbelievable what's going on in our country. To me, it's unbelievable. I think if you're in the system, this is just the way it works, right? And you're like, what is Rob complaining about? We're good people. What are you talking about? I'm like, I don't like the system you're in. I think you should change it. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's go to clip number 4. Now, do you know the name? I think we've talked about it before. Kevin Slayton in St. Louis.
Yeah, sounds very familiar.
Kevin Slayton was the announcer for the Steamers soccer team. So this is way before your time, Isaiah, but the Steamers were a very popular soccer team, indoor soccer
I remember
team
the Steamers
in the early 80s. They were very, very popular. They were outselling the St. Louis Blues, who are very popular in St. Louis. So it was huge. And he was the PA announcer for the Steamers. And then he gets in, he was on TV. He talked primarily about sports, but then he started getting into politics. And I'm watching him on social media. And I said, Kevin, you're getting a lot of this wrong, man. I said, I want to come on your show. He just did a podcast. And he said, oh, you're going to be sorry if you come on the podcast. I go, I'll take my chances. Let me on the podcast. So I come on, and he's defending Donald Trump. Every move that Donald Trump is 6D chess and this and that and the other. I said, you're complaining about Fauci. And I said, Donald Trump gave Fauci a Medal of Commendation. He said he didn't give anybody a medal for blah, 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 blah. I said, yes, he did. And somebody must have got to him or sent him a text, because right in the middle of the conversation, I can't see him. This is an audio situation we have going on. And right in the middle of it, he goes, okay, well, I do see that he gave him a Medal of Commendation. And he goes on. I'm saying, but that's kind of a big deal when the people that are supporting Donald Trump are screaming at the top of their lungs, fire Fauci, at a rally that I was in. And then within a month, he's giving him a Medal of Commendation for the wonderful work they've done with Warp Speed, which killed millions of people, shut down businesses, and transferred wealth. Can't ignore that. You can't just say, well, it was the Democrats, because it wasn't. It was both parties, because both parties are really one party. Here is the Medal of Commendation. If you don't mind, check this out. Clip number 4, if you don't believe me. Okay. Medal of Commendation Awards, Presidential Commendation, Operation Warp Speed. What day is that, Isaiah?
This is January 19th, 2021, right out the door.
Who's the president in January 19th, 2020?
It says, today, President Donald J. Trump awarded presidential commendations to the below individuals in recognition of their exceptional efforts on Operation Warp Speed.
And what name is highlighted?
Let's see here. Dr. Anthony Fauci. Whoa.
Huh. And then, if you remember, just to show how the media is complicit, he goes on with Megyn Kelly, and she interviews him, and she said, why did you keep Fauci around for so long? The people that were supporting you didn't like Dr. Darth Fauci, and he gets a Medal of Commendation from you at the very end of your administration. He goes, I didn't give Anthony Fauci a Medal of Commendation. And we've talked about this over and over from the very time until now. I just ask you, does Isaiah, if you're asking a line of questions to the president of the United States, and you say, why did you keep Fauci on, and why did you give him a Medal of Commendation as you're walking out the door, and he says it wasn't me, wouldn't the first thing in your mind, or any journalist in America since, well, who did? You're talking about the auto pen from Joe Biden, and yet now you're giving medals of commendation to Dr. Darth Fauci, who your adoring crowd hates, and you say you didn't give it when it's your name coming from the White House while you're the president of the United States. Wouldn't one journalist, just one anywhere in the world, say, well, if you didn't give the Medal of Commendations with your name on it coming from your office on January 19th, who did? Do you think not one person has asked that question, Isaiah? Not one person. Not one person in all of the world thought, well, wait a minute, if you're telling us that you didn't sign this Medal of Commendation coming from the White House on January 19th, and yet you're complaining about the auto pen of Joe Biden, can you please tell us who signed this on your behalf? Because if somebody signed it on your behalf and sent these Medal of Commendations out to Warp Speed, well, didn't they commit forgery? Isn't that, shouldn't that be some kind of a crime? Like if Rob Carter breaks into the White House website and I say I'm giving medals of commendation to Charles Manson and Ted Bundy, and I go, well, why did you give medals of commendations to Ted Bundy and Charles Manson? I go, well, it wasn't me. Like, I know, but it's on the White House website with your name on it. Maybe we should find out.
You awarded it.
Maybe we should find out who did it. Do you think? Maybe we should find out. It's unbelievable what happens in our country. I'm just telling you, to me, it's just the most incredible thing I've ever seen. So now people are talking about, will Fauci be penalized, Isaiah?
Yeah.
I think Donald Trump gave you a very clear hint of what's going to happen to Dr. Darth Fauci in clip number 15. Sorry, snuck up.
The only thing you can really think about is the autopen, because the most powerful thing a president has, they say, is the power of pardon. So he was pardoned by Biden, and I respect that. I know how powerful it is. It's a very powerful, they say it's literally the most powerful thing a president has. Now, whether or not I sign my things directly, always, almost everything I sign directly. You're witness to many of them. He signed very few. The only thing I know that he signed was Hunter Biden's pardon, but I'm not sure that he signed, he probably didn't sign this one. So I can't tell you what the law is. I've heard that you have to have a lot of proof. You need to have letters. You need to have all sorts of things, that the person operating the autopen has to know exactly what it's all about. He didn't know what it was about because I saw him testify. So maybe there's something on the autopen. Other than that, the power of pardon is very powerful.
Unbelievable. To me, it's so indicative of what's going on around here. And most people that are completely reliant on Donald Trump saving the world don't ask any questions about it. They just see it as good, I guess. When everybody in the world who paid attention to COVID realized that Anthony Fauci lied every single day about everything, and then the president of the United States gives him a Medal of Commendation, lies about the Medal of Commendation, now says he's not going to be able to do anything with Darth Fauci because he got a pardon by an autopen, in the same sentence with Anthony Fauci, where something obviously happened through an autopen because he said he didn't sign the Medal of Commendations for Dr. Darth Fauci. It's incredible. It's just, Isaiah, I don't want to keep saying incredible and amazing, but isn't it?
Yeah.
Bananas. Now let's get to
bananas. That's a good way. That's a good word for it.
Let's go to bananas for a little bit. Let's go to Dr. Darth Fauci. And this is my subject. I'm honest to God, I could write a book about what went down during COVID because I was insane over it, Isaiah. I fought with everybody in my life over COVID, and I mean everybody. We're talking about family members, coworkers, people that I went to church with, everybody. Everybody. I said, you guys are wrong. You don't need these vaccines. You're going to hurt yourself. I was doing a podcast at my home when I first started, Isaiah, and I have my my stepdaughter and her boyfriend listening as I'm doing my podcast. So I was doing it, this was audio, so I just did it in the dining room, and we put up the equipment, we take it down, we put it up, we take it down. Yep. So I'm doing it in the dining room, and you know how loud my voice is, Isaiah. When I whisper, you can hear it from 3 rooms away. Everybody says, "Rob, forget the whispering. You're not very good."
I am too.
Say I can't do it. My voice just carries it. It's just the way it is. So they're sitting in the room right next to us, listening to me talk about COVID over and over and over and over and over. And both of them in their early 20s got vaccinated. And the young man who played hockey for Team USA, just a big, strong, great athlete, he almost lost his legs. He was in the hospital for months with purple legs within 2 or 3 weeks after taking the vaccines.
It's crazy. You remember Joseph? He was forced to get the vaccine at the College World Series.
Yes, that's your buddy that came in.
Yeah,
same thing. That was Washington University.
Yeah, he got threatened by the coach. They said cornered him because he was the only person not vaccinated, and said, hey, if you don't get vaccinated, then everyone on the team is going to have to get tested every day for 10 days.
Yep.
And if one person's positive, then we all go home and we lose the tournament. We forfeit. So what do you want to do? Do you want to get tested every day and risk everyone losing the future of their lives?
Uh-huh.
What are you going to do as a young 21-year-old guy if you're cornered by that?
Yep, you're cornered. It's just crazy. So now let's go into some of the information that was out there from the very beginning. Let me start, and I got not a ton of time, so we're going to roll this real quick.
We could do this, and then we could probably do some advertisers. Probably,
yeah, exactly. We'll do the advertising on the half hour from moving forward. So let's do this doctor talking about ventilators. Now, ventilators, the first. Remember how Trump sold the ventilators right away, Isaiah? Ventilators. We got to get ventilators. Ventilators. Should have been a song about ventilators at the very beginning, because we all need ventilators.
Yes.
But the people that were talking to me at the same time Donald Trump was selling ventilators said the last thing you want to do with somebody who can barely breathe from this COVID vaccine is put them on ventilators. That's what they were telling me. At the same time, Donald Trump was selling ventilators and getting ventilators all over the country. Okay, so this is what this is just one doctor. This is what I was being told at the same time as well. Clip number 1, doctors talking about ventilators in the hospitals. Check this out.
Dr. Cameron Kyle Seidel, ER and critical care doctor from New York City. We typically use ventilators to treat what's called respiratory failure. That is, we use the ventilator to do the work that the patient's muscles can no longer do because they're too tired to do it. These patients' muscles work fine. I fear that if we're using a false paradigm to treat a new disease, that the method that we program the ventilator, one based on a notion of respiratory failure as opposed to oxygen failure, that this method, and there are a great many number of methods we can use with the ventilator, but this method being widely adopted at this very moment in every hospital in the country, which aims to increase pressure on the lungs in order to open them up, is actually doing more harm than good. And that the pressure we are providing to lungs, we may be providing to lungs that cannot stand it, that cannot take it, and that the ARDS that we are seeing, that the whole world is seeing, may be nothing more than lung injury caused by the ventilator.
Let me just say this. If I admit a patient to the hospital and they're on Medicare and they have just routine pneumonia for a diagnosis, the hospital will get a lump sum payment called a DRG, and it'll be about $4,600. If I admit that same patient and I attach COVID-19 to the pneumonia diagnosis, then it goes from $4,600 to $13,000 for that admission, regardless of whether the patient's in a hospital for 3 days or 13 days. If during that hospitalization, I put the patient on a ventilator for a period of time, then the payment goes from $13,000 to $39,000. Now that's a big payment.
I am reincarnated.
Get it, Isaiah?
Wow.
Financial incentive by the hospital administrations, put forth by the insurance companies, put forth by the government to get you on ventilators when any doctor worth his salt knew that that was going to hurt you more than help you, as laid out by the evidence. Amazing. Scott Jensen was a doctor who ran up in Minnesota. He ran for office up in Minnesota, and he talked about it from the very beginning. He said they're incentivizing killing people in our hospitals, paying people to kill humans because that was the protocol. Just doing my job, Isaiah. Just going to do my job. Whatever my job is.
This is what the person in the white coat told me to do. You know, the Milgram experiment.
White coat's the expert. You know, the insurance companies. The insurance companies want us to put you on ventilators. It's a
safety precaution. It's for your safety.
Let's go to clip number 13 because Dr. Darth Fauci, who's been a con man from the very beginning, all the way back to the AIDS days. I may have to get to that at some point too. Here's what he.
Someone even just said in here that he funded the Spanish flu vaccine.
No. He funded. Well, Spanish flu was like in the late teens, 19 teens. But what he did do was write a paper about it. Apparently, I don't know.
Okay.
Unable to verify that, where he said the Spanish flu was perpetuated by the protocols, not the flu itself.
Really?
Yes.
No way.
Yeah.
He wrote that.
That's the rumor. I've never been able to verify it.
Man, I'm going to look into that then.
Yeah, there was going around on social media back in the day. It was this big, long explanation about how the Spanish flu actually went down, not what we're told.
Wow.
And that it was the protocols and people doing stupid things that exacerbated it that was supposed to be eliminating it. Okay.
Essentially everything that happened during COVID.
Everything you think you know is a lie. Just start from there and everything will be fine. Clip number 13, Dr. Anthony Fauci saying, if they call me to testify, I got nothing to hide. Clip number 13.
Unreal.
Become a punching bag. I'm a punching bag, but I am very happy to testify before any congressional oversight committee. I have nothing to hide. I can explain and validate everything that I've done. So, you know, it's going to be inconvenient if they actually are out there essentially threatening to make my life miserable. But I'm going to do what I need to do, and that is cooperate fully because we have nothing to hide at all.
He's got nothing to hide. All right.
Clip nothing to hide at all. Okay.
He's got nothing to hide. Clip number 7 with Josh Hawley.
Hunter Biden's.
This is where Josh Hawley does a really, really nice job.
He does.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Chairman.
He's a lawyer, so it makes sense.
Well, nothing says honesty like taking the fifth, huh, Doc? Let's try something.
What day of the week is it today?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color tie are you wearing?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color is the carpet in front of you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Let's just get one thing straight. You don't have any rights under the Fifth Amendment because you've been pardoned, as you very well know. As the Supreme Court has been clear for a century and more, Brown versus Walker, 1896, when he has been pardoned, he may not stand upon his privilege. You know that. Your lawyers sitting behind you now shifting nervously in their chairs. They know it. This isn't about the Constitution. This isn't about the law. This is about contempt. Contempt for this body and contempt for the American people. But I think I know why you're doing it. It's because you don't want to answer questions. It's because you did all kinds of terrible things. It's because during the pandemic you got rich, didn't you? You got rich.
All right, that's good. I believe that this is nothing more than theater going on. And again, just remember what the theme of many of our shows, they get to the bottom of things after the damage is done. Once the $2.2 trillion was extracted from your pocket onto Wall Street and the CARES Act was passed, once they closed down millions of small businesses and the corporations went through the roof, look at the stock market if you don't believe me. Once all the damage is done, then we'll come out and tell you the story. When it doesn't matter, the damage is done. Do you want somebody to tell you that murderers are getting ready to break into your house before they do it, while they're doing it, or 5 years after they've done it? Owen Schroyer, please. Clip number 11. Owen Schroyer, I got to get him on the show because Owen Schroyer is getting with the ball game. He's starting to figure this thing out. I got to believe he's listening to the show, Isaiah, because he was not here in the past. But I think Owen Schroyer, a St. Louis kid, starting to listen to the Rob Carter show because he's starting to sound a lot like we do. Clip number 11. Owen Schroyer, please.
Oh, you guys are watching the Fauci hearing today? By now, you've probably realized it's nothing more than a giant grandstanding event for our members of Congress. But let's just take a step back and review some of the things that are being discussed since the Fauci hearing is happening today. Let's also recall that a week ago, Donald Trump gave a primetime address about a stolen election in 2020. Now, keep in mind, not a single indictment, not a single prosecution, not a single arrest has been made since that press conference. And we all remember how upset everybody was after seeing that, much like they're upset after everything they're seeing and hearing about Fauci now. The problem is these things happened more than 5 years ago. And the people that were talking about them then, well, I guess they just didn't listen to us. So now here we are today. And Fauci is testifying, and he's not going to say anything because he's pleaded the fifth. Okay. Now, is anything going to happen? Are there going to be any arrests? And what if there aren't? There haven't been yet. Who's president right now? And by the way, who was president in 2020 when the COVID policies were enacted? Who was president in 2020 that gave Anthony Fauci all the power over the COVID policies? Who was president in January of 2021 and gave Fauci an award, a distinguished award for his great response to the COVID pandemic? Who was the president? Oh, that's right, it was Trump. Tell me, who was the president when the election was stolen in 2020? Oh, that's right, it was Trump. Ironically enough, when Biden was president, Republicans won the House, the Senate, and the White House. Funny how that works. But I'm listening to all of these politicians up there on the stand questioning Fauci, who they know is not going to answer a question. And I'm just asking myself, where was this energy in 2020? Where were all of you guys in 2020 when this stuff was actually happening? And there were people out there that were pushing back against it. There were people out there who were fighting back against it. Where were you then? And it's funny because there seems to be a pretty obvious pattern here. The same people that were calling out the election in 2020, who ended up being right, the same people who were pushing back against the COVID policies in 2020 and Fauci ended up being right, are the same people warning you about the current trajectory of the administration. Are you starting to get the pattern? And now here we are, everybody admits the election was stolen, including Fox News. And now here we are admitting the COVID pandemic was a giant scam and Fauci is a crook, even Fox News. Oh, but the people that were covering it then, oh, they wouldn't touch it. Fox News wouldn't touch it. Republicans would barely touch it. And now here we are 5 years later pretending like we care or like anything is going to happen. It's pathetic. It's a joke. You're fighting a battle you've already lost.
You could watch his videos forever.
Is it not exactly what we talk about in the show? And trust me when I tell you, I was talking about this long before Owen Schroyer. I got upset with Owen Schroyer because I think he's really talented. And I thought, what is he doing? How does he not see what's going on with this administration at this point? Because he just really turned stripes maybe, 6 months ago, Isaiah?
Yeah.
All right, because he was following Donald Trump and Donald Trump this and Donald Trump that. I'm like, come on, Owen, good Lord. I mean, it'll be a little bit skeptical. I mean, you might be right at the end of the day, but there's a lot of evidence out here to say, wait a minute, hang on just a second.
Yeah. I've been off. I'm not completely off the Trump train, but was getting on the edge of it to jump off about 9 or 10 months ago with the so it's it's a little late to the game if you're saying, hey, okay, now that the Iran war is happening, that's why I'm going to jump off.
COVID, elections, war, data centers, flock cameras, just
we saw it coming.
The lying about Dr. Darth Fauci, the auto pin, we're going to put Hillary Clinton in jail. We're going to do all these things that were supposed to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know about anybody else, but I haven't seen any of those things happen. So I got to be skeptical.
As
That's
soon as
all.
they started rolling back the deportations and
everything.
I don't think they need to deploy the ICE agents to make it happen. But as soon as they started rolling that back, I said, okay, this is a joke. Then this is not actually going to happen.
Do you agree with me that it's tribal?
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
If you look if you scan social media and you watch the Democrats and the Republicans go at it, I'm going to start asking my people that are the Republicans that are running for office in the state of Missouri, or the people that follow them in these grassroots. What is it that the Republican Party has done that you're so excited about in the state of Missouri? And if you can't answer anything, and if I say, well, who are the really good Republicans in the state of Missouri? You know what I get most of the time? Bryant Wolfen.
Yep.
Right. In Jefferson City. Mike Moon, Lisa Durnell. I could probably think of 5 or 6. I go, so you're a Republican and you can name 5 or 6 that you identify with, but you're a Republican. Does that make any sense, Isaiah?
No.
So what are you a Republican for? I'm honest. I don't understand it. If you can only identify with 5 or 6 Republicans that you think are doing a good job in the state of Missouri, why do you call yourself a Republican? Well, because you're not. 5 or 6 people is not the majority. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think we need to make a new conservative caucus and the
something needs to happen
because that's what the Freedom Caucus was supposed to be. I think that was what their name was originally, was the Conservative Caucus, if I remember right. And then they changed it to Freedom Caucus. And it's interesting.
Let's do some advertising. I don't want to. Mike and Amy are very antsy, and when we hold them late, they get very upset with me.
Yes.
I see them in there. They're going, come on, Rob, let's get this thing going. PeoplesLobbyMo.com, PeoplesLobbyMo.com, ActForMo.org. Either one doesn't matter to me, but we need these groups of people that are holding government accountable. If you do not want to be a part of something that's going to change the world for the better, then ignore us. If you want to help, all we're talking about is very small donations. We're not asking you to give an arm and a leg. We're saying, hey, the next time you go to get a cup of coffee, maybe in your mind you go, you know what? Maybe if I just gave that $5 to People's Lobby Missouri and they began to put pressure on our government and things started to get better for us, taxes started to get lower, our streets got safer, there's more honesty in government, less baby killing going on. Maybe you jump on the side of People's Lobby Missouri or ActForMo.org. Doesn't matter. Even the Shield Maidens, we're all in it to put pressure on this government to get back to a constitutional republic. That's what we're after. That's all we're after. And you should join. You should join right now, and you shouldn't wait, because if you wait, you won't do it. Join peopleslobbymo.com. 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 All right. Just go to the website, donate, sign up. If you can't donate, sign up, and we'll get you the information as things begin to develop. And I think we're going to really get after that site as soon as the primaries end and we get into the general. We're going to start ramping it up again, because we had starting the new podcast after the radio show has been kind of all consuming for us. So we haven't been able to do as many things with People's Lobby Mo as we wanted to, but we'll get back into the game here very shortly. And then how about rocketcareers.com? Isaiah, you haven't been talking about rocketcareers.com. I see Mitch, he's out all over social media on his vacation. Hope he's enjoying it very much. But if you're a small to medium-sized business and you do not have a human resources department, or maybe you do and they just don't get the job done, and you keep getting these squirrely candidates that can't get the work done the way you prefer, or maybe they don't represent your business the way you would like, or maybe they don't stick around and you're constantly looking for more people, remember, rocketcareers.com vets the candidates, preps the candidates. You get good people before you when you work with rocketcareers.com. And as always, if you hate your job, if you're out of work and you want to launch a new career, rocketcareers.com, ROCKIT careers.com, 636-778-2419, 636-778-2419. This is a small business that goes from coast to coast. It's not one of the big corporations. These are good people that actually care whether they make your life better through employment. rocketcareers.com, ROCKIT careers.com, 636-778-2419. And then we got joneswater.com. Is this the last day? How many days are in July? How's the song go?
I don't know.
This might be the last day to get your $250 discount. Don't drink tap water. I mean, when we had Jim Gale on, I was going to play the commercial right in the middle of them talking about how
last day tomorrow. It's 31 day.
He said, he was talking about how nasty the water is, and I couldn't agree more. You should not be drinking tap water. Most people that by now have water and air filtration systems in their home. I suggest if you don't, you should look to joneswater.com. Clean air, clean water. It's what keeps your family happy and healthy. And without it, you're always going to have ailments, whether it be skin ailments, breathing ailments, sinus ailments. It's just the way it is, because clean air and clean water is the first step to a happy, healthy home. You'll be the filter, or you'll buy the filter. $250 off a April Air system in your home or business. They do home and businesses. And same thing with the water purification system. I just don't remember which one it is, but give them a call. Check it out. If you want to do business with Everett Jones and joneswater.com on the Missouri side, St. Charles County, Lincoln, Franklin, Warren, St. Louis, and Jefferson. And if you go to the east side, Madison, Monroe, Jersey, and St. Clair. Let's get one more in. Let's do GraceHauling.com.
GraceHauling.com.
GraceHauling.com, GraceHauling.com. Gary Schneider, outstanding customer service, competitive pricing. The reason you see all the trucks around St. Charles County with that Grace Hauling sign on it is because people have started to figure out, if you're in the trash game, there is nobody better than Gary Schneider. If you're on the residential side, trash pickups, recyclables, yard waste, and bulk pickups. If you're on the commercial side, they've been around since 1998. You can trust them with 2, 4, 6, and 8-yard dumpsters. GraceHauling.com. Gary, what do you want me to say about your business? Rob, not much to say, but for the grace of God, I would not have such a thriving business. I said, I'm on. GraceHauling.com, GraceHauling.com, GraceHauling.com. All right, let's bring in the superstars from act4mo.org. Michael Compton with his book sitting over my shoulder right there.
Mine too.
It is, Mike, right there in the set. I got it on the set for you.
Thank you so much, Rob.
Michael Compton, the author of Keeping the Republic, and Amy Castro, act4mo.org. I guess we're going to go through some people you think we should vote for in the state of Missouri. Is that where we want to go today?
We probably can go there today. We're not really making endorsements, but maybe more about how you can determine who might be a good candidate. Maybe
even better.
Yeah, lots of questions. We've been lots of messages. People are confused. The ads are coming out pretty hard, and they're really, boy.
It's really nasty this cycle.
So nasty.
Well, there's a big fight over this, which is very interesting to me. The A5, just watching the money being spent to push A5 is very bizarre to me. And I don't have anything against these people that are pushing it. What's odd is the manner from which they push it. If you disagree as a Republican on A5 or as a conservative on A5, they come at you like you're the devil.
Oh yeah, right. Look at this.
Siding with the Marxists, they hate you. This, it's but not.
Well, look at your the VP of the GOP. Isn't that pleasant? Imbeciles.
Now, who's the is this? So this is
the vice chair of the Missouri State GOP.
Okay, so this is Jennifer Bukowski with the Republican Party. She puts out onto X, and this is her statement. It's ironic, but all of those opposing Missouri's Amendment 5 to finally eliminate our state income tax should support it. That include those who pay zero state income tax now. Grow the pie. We all get richer. Imbeciles struggle with this basic fact. Yes on 5. Isn't that sweet?
Kind of sounds like deplorables, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like they're trying to humiliate people because, did you get to see yesterday? Did you get to see Lisa Panette and
yes.
Davidson?
Watch the whole thing.
Yep. And what's, because I texted back and forth with Bishop last night about the bill, and my argument with him remains the same. If I'm disagreeing, Lisa is not somebody that I think is trying to mislead everybody, although that's what they claim that she tries to do. You're down there with her. You kind of know what kind of
No,
character.
she would never do that. She works very hard to get it right.
Exactly. And they were arguing over language. I don't know Bishop Davidson well enough to say he is understanding of legal language, but I have been dealing with Lisa Panett. She had an hour on my show every week for almost the entire time that I was on Real Talk Radio. And she brought things to my attention, and every single thing that she brought to my attention, she got it right. So that's all I know. She got it right. She was the one that told me about Bear Monsanto and the bill that was going forth. She's the one that told me about the stadium bill and that it was unconstitutional. I could go on and on. She's the one that told me about the Mary Elizabeth Coleman sabotaging her own bill on the original A3. She told me all of these stories. They all checked out. So I can't, with a straight face, say that Lisa Panett was lying to the audience yesterday when she debated Bishop Davidson. Would you have to? You'd have to agree with that, right? I mean, we know.
Absolutely. Lisa's been up there doing this for 15 years, close to it. She knows who to ask when she doesn't know something, and she goes and gets the expert's opinion when it's something that's out of her knowledge base. So she goes to great lengths to make sure what she tells you is correct.
Right. Did you hear Patrick Allen call in from Missouri Freedom?
Yeah, and I'm going to add to this because there's this, I guess, view, because we do work closely with Shield Maidens, that somehow we started or connected. We followed the Shield Maidens independently as ACT for Missouri for quite a while before we really connected with them. We just followed them. We monitored. We checked. We're like, okay, Mike goes, every single time he's like, these things check, and so we followed it. We didn't jump in until we checked.
The reason we did was because they always provided, they didn't just tell you something. They always provided you where you could go research it yourself. And we appreciated that, because that's kind of.
But we checked it for our own before we started to share and say, yeah, this is a legitimate source, because we felt that they were always on point and they had the receipts just like they claimed. And so, yeah, it's just, we're not blindly following or blindly working with Shield Maidens. It's just an arrogant and ignorant statement for somebody to say that.
And one of the things that I recognized yesterday was there was an argument over the language. See, yeah. Lisa, I think the charm of Lisa is she's been down there for a long time. She tells you where her opinions are.
Yes.
But what I think makes her special and makes her interesting, at least for me, that's why I had her on my show for all that time. And I got to get her back. Lisa, if you're listening, get you back on the show. And I'd like to get Stacy on. I'd like to get them on together. But, she was somebody who said the language opens the door for problems. It's the language in the bill, not the intent of the bill, not that the legislators necessarily are trying to get over, but the swamp does. The people that write those bills, they leave these little holes everywhere for interpretation, and then if they want to change the meaning later on, they have the opportunity to do it. That's toll roads, right? You brought it up, Michael, last one of the times we were doing the show, and you said this opens the door for toll roads. That's what she was talking about yesterday. He says it does not open the door for toll roads, and she said, well, I have attorneys that disagree with you. That's all I needed to hear, because that's probably the deal, right? This gets into court, and do you think the courts are not corrupt too? I mean, come on. So now you get whatever you want, because now you're pushing it out of the elected body, and I guess you can call the judges elected, and you get it into that realm, and whatever they decide, Missourians go, well, the Supreme Court decided this. That's the end of it. That's how it works. And I just don't trust it. And that's why I said I'm a hard no on A5, simply because I don't know or understand all of the legal language, but there's too much, trust me, involved for me to get on board with A5. That's where I see it.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
I think Mike's looking up something. What are you guys going to?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I saw you posted earlier a picture of our anointed Speaker of the House,
Alex Riley.
Alex Riley.
Putting up the sign for our anointed floor leader, Curtis Trent, in his yard.
What's going on with that? Because Curtis Trent is running against Lori Rook. Lori Rook is the darling of the grassroots in her area. I thought it was kind of odd that Alex Riley, who's a very strange looking character, by the way, but I was surprised that both, I think Darren Chappell also came out in
Darren Chappell also did, yes.
Of Curtis Trent. What is your take on that particular race? Because
I think they're circling the wagons, and let me just
We're going to help try to point out how to, when you're looking at candidates, how to determine who's being funded by large corporate lobbyist groups, outside money, and who's being funded by actual citizens or maybe even being self-funded. If you look at that, you'll start to see, and then you can decide, am I getting the truth? I'm probably getting the lobbyist spin, or do I just have a person who's like, I want to be in the race because I want to go up and try to make some changes if they can. And the MECs are the clearest way to look at that. So we're going to, Mike's going to pull up.
Just looking at the latest MEC report, which is the 8 days before the election. Up to that point, Curtis Trent and he's got a PAC called the 417 PAC. And it's a leadership PAC. So that's the one where they can donate unlimited amount. There's no, it's nice. Where all the PACs dump and stuff.
Is this on the website, Mike? I can pull it up if you want.
No, I don't. I have it on the MEC site.
No worries.
I've already got the report. Oops.
Whoa. Uh-oh.
Oh, no. Oh, no, Mike.
We lost Mike.
Mike is under attack.
Somebody doesn't want me to share this.
Yeah. That's like when your cat or dog jumps on your screen when you're trying to talk.
All right. So before this report, he had $322,000 in this PAC. In this last little section here, he's added $462,000 has come in, and most of that's been used for attack ads. Because if you go down to the end of these MEC reports, you can see they have to list on these type of PACs. They have to list any candidate that they run ads for or against, and it's almost exclusively money that they've used to run against Lori Rook. So the deal is that race is close, and again, like I said, he's been pegged to be in leadership. So
right. He's the Senate pro tem, and then
I think they pegged him to be floor leader. So
floor leader. I'm sorry.
Okay, so his total amount is over 700,000.
To run for to run in a race where his salary will be what, 50,000, 40,000?
Right.
Yeah,
So,
I think for a senator it's around 41,000.
Okay, and then
he's the incumbent.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he is the incumbent.
Can I ask you real fast? I'm curious of this. I've met Lori. I've talked to Lori. I've had her on the show a couple times. What is the dirt on Lori Rook? As I understand it, she's got a family. She's been married to her husband forever. He comes out and does commercials for her. I think she's an attorney, if I'm not mistaken. Seems like a lovely person. I'm trying to figure out where's the dirt on somebody.
Well, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that they've been sending out against her in these flyers that are these mailers that people are getting, and one of them tries to tie her to being supportive of DEI. And the deal with that is she is an attorney, so as they're required to take these courses every couple years. And one of them has something to do with diversity, equity, and integrity.
Inclusion.
Yeah, it's probably
And,
they're painting her as a liberal because of these classes.
Because she has to take it to maintain her status. And
Curtis,
which is interesting because Curtis Trent is also an attorney, so he would have to take the same course. But
can you tell Mike and Amy who is where the money's coming from? Are you able to see that?
Well, most of those are coming from that 417 PAC, which is Curtis Trent's what they call. I'm trying to think of the correct terminology. It's not his personal PAC, but it's his. I can't. I'm drawing blank on the word, but it's a PAC that's exclusively for him. That's and they'll say it's independent. That's what they normally do on these PACs. Is they set them up because they can bring in unlimited money, and then they can run all the attack ads, and then the candidate says, "Well, I didn't know that,"
$700,000
which more than half of that has come in just the last couple of weeks. So they're really pouring in the money, and that's why you're seeing them bring in Darren Chappell and Alex Riley. They're really circling the wagons to try to because Lori's got a really good shot at this because people like her. They're responding to her. She's been going to town halls and helping these counties set up legislation in their county to prevent the data centers, do the moratoriums, and she will fight the data centers in in Jeff City. They know that. Curtis Trent was a supporter of the utility bill. That's really, I think, the reason we're seeing so many of these data centers wanting to move here is partially because of SB4 that he supported. He, of course, supported giving the billions to the billionaires. So, there's a clear division between that on whether you want the big corporate lobbyist type senator or you want a senator that's going to be there for the people and protecting their rights and property.
So this is
Darren Chappell on the Missouri Freedom Caucus?
I don't know for sure on that, but he is one of the main people. He's not the chair. He might end up being vice chair of the budget committee. He's one that he often has really great things to say about the budget, but then when it comes time to vote on the budget, he votes for all the budget bills. So he doesn't. It's kind of one of those deals where I hear him say one thing, but I see him vote another way.
Does it feel like I had it right when I called it Missouri Inc. to you? Because
absolutely.
I called it Missouri Inc. because of this right here. I kept saying to myself, well, wait a minute. I'm just thinking it from a business standpoint. You need stability in business. You want stability. And I could not figure out why the Republican Party would bring forth their Speaker of the House before that Speaker of the House was ever elected. That just always rubbed me wrong. Like, that's just, there has to be a reason for that.
It's because they can project the money. They know who's coming in and the deals are being made. It's all pretty done.
You would think that if they were going to do that, they wouldn't be so public about it, but they really don't care what we think because they want public, because they want all the people that donate the big money, all the groups that donate the big money to know who that person is.
Correct.
It's so hard to get people to think, and this is one thing that I did learn with Lisa, is, you're so busy looking at what's happening right now. She's like, no, this is one piece of something that's happening in a bigger picture that you're going to see lay out in 5 years.
Right.
Because she's got that historical perspective. So while, certain amendments don't look that bad right now. That's why Lisa is so particular about the language, is what is the potential for them to double back on something and go, oh, well, we are going to need to put in toll roads. Oh my gosh. And guess what? The language already lays that open for us. How convenient.
Right.
I mean, it's just when you start to see it as we know the history from her, I'm like, this is such a racket.
That's why we've learned.
I mean,
that you have to go through these bills with a fine-tooth comb. You have to go through and check every reference to see where it goes to. It's meticulous work, but you have to do it because you don't know what's going to come up later. And I just tell everybody anything that's in a bill, because the Amendment 5, when we bring up the road stuff, they say, well, we had to put that in there, but we're really not going to do anything with that, blah, blah. You'll hear that kind of excuse. No, there's a reason why those clauses are put in there. They're not put in there by mistake.
See, that's what I got out of that interview. And this Ms. guy did a nice job, I thought, by the way, of conducting that interview yesterday between Bishop David, this was 93.3, Bishop Davidson and Lisa Panette. Just watching the body language, I do not, I don't know Bishop Davidson. I don't know him. He's been friendly with me back and forth on text, just trying to figure out what's going on. I think some of these guys, it seems to me like he thinks he really put forth a wonderful framework that's going to be really good. And I don't know how that system works up there, but it seems to me that he believes that he's got kind of this fail-proof, we got triggers here, we got blocks here, we got, and Lisa's looking at him like, no, this is what the language says. And he's disagreeing with her on the language and she's getting things wrong. And it was back and forth. And all I kept thinking to myself when I was listening to that was, I don't think that he is necessarily being deceptive, because I was watching him like a hawk. I was just watching because he had his face right there. I could see the whole thing. I think he thinks this is a great thing. And I think Lisa thinks that he might think it's a great thing, but because of the language that is put forth. And remember when they start talking about being very complicated? Well, it has to be complicated. It's tax balance. She goes, no, it doesn't. And that's the way I come. I'm like, Lisa, it doesn't have to be complicated. He said, well, there's a lot of egos involved in this and that and the other. And I was thinking to myself, yes, that now you're on it. There's a lot of egos involved because people want these little word changes and these little open-ended, and she used that term open-ended many times. These open-ended situations within a bill to where it can be exploited later on down the line when you're gone, you're out of there. And now it's exploited by somebody who wants to take advantage of a bill that's,
One thing I've been telling people, especially on the amendments, is read them for yourself. If they don't make sense to you or you don't understand them, the right vote is no. It's just like we would ask of our legislatures. If they get a bill and they read it and nobody can explain to why it is, but even if there's something that they like in it, they should vote no, because if they don't understand something, you shouldn't do it, because this is signing a contract. We're putting this in our Constitution. So make sure, I encourage everybody to read these amendments themselves, the full text. You can find it on the Secretary of State's website. Pull them up. They're not very long. The longest one, I think, is 4 or 5 pages. If you don't understand it, say no. Make them come back, because they should be written to where the citizens understand what they're doing. And if they don't, and don't think it's because you don't have the knowledge. That's not your fault. That's their fault. Make them come back and write something that we can understand.
Yeah, there's a founding father that talked about that at length, and he said, one trick by big government is to write legislation that nobody can understand. Mm-hmm. And he said that you got to be very careful of that. If you can't understand what you're signing off on, then there might be a problem later on down the road. And I think that's it, because I read that bill, the first pass at that bill on the air when I think I was on the radio at that time. Mm-hmm. I said, I can't make head or tails out of that. I wouldn't have any idea what to say about this thing. Why? And I'm not an idiot. I'm not saying I'm a legal person, but I'm not
What? You're not an imbecile?
I'm not an imbecile, but I look at it and I don't understand how this would actually work out.
And I think that's what's so frustrating for us is, so Mike has gone through it so many times. We've gone over it together. Lisa has, Stacy has, lawyers have. I mean, so these insinuations that we're some goofball people out here that have no clue what we're talking about is so insulting and ridiculous.
Yeah, the only arguments I get online, Amy, is anytime we make a good point is an ad hominem attack. That's
always,
exactly
and it's just shows how weak they are.
Rob, you probably had the person with the greatest amount of experience in tax law in this state on your show with Ray McCarty a week or two ago.
Exactly.
And he's been involved in writing the tax code in the state for 37 years. And I will take his experience over just about anybody else right now, as far as understanding what's actually in this legislation.
I was uber impressed by him. Temperament, did not seem to have like a rooting interest. He was just he was like Dragnet, just the facts, ma'am.
Yep.
And he was just kind of laying it out. This is where this opens the door. This is the way I see it. This is why I wouldn't vote for it. He just went through it nice and methodically. And I thought, well, this makes this.
And really, he's head of one of the organizations, the business organizations, that the supporters of this say is the reason that we should do this is because it'll bring in more businesses. If that was the case, you would think the head of the biggest business organization in the state would be all open arms about this. So,
who are you talking about?
Ray McCarty.
Ray McCarty.
Gotcha.
So there was a comment in the things. It was really good. It says they don't write the bills, they sell the bills, and that I think there's a lot of truth to that statement. There you go. They don't write the bills. So, and Bishop basically said that he had an idea. He kind of wanted to work on this. It didn't really get much momentum, but then something got picked up at a higher level that caused them to kind of see what he was doing. So that's when the negotiation happens. They're like, hey, we need a bill, we're going to do this. So it's coming from a much bigger perspective, even down, so from federal to state. Mm-hmm. You see, and that's where I think we get a little bit messed up, I think, because and so it's coming, he gets it from whoever, the globalist. I mean, that's what it is, uniparty globalists.
Yeah, big corporations.
Right, the big corporations that want to, get us to fall in line, right? So here it comes, and it looks like it's just this Missouri tax bill. Well, I see Lisa's viewpoint.
This whole thing, the further it goes, when you look at, I think Isaiah put up yesterday, they're over $20 million that they brought in supporting this now. I mean,
was it 20? It was 15 the other day.
No, it's up.
Now, if you add in the in-kind contributions, it's up to $20.8 million.
Can you guys just answer this for me? And I have a feeling I know where you're going to go with it, but it just seems odd to me that they're not recognizing it and not answering it. Because again, I get on social media with these people that are pushing it, and I said, well, when they make an argument that I think I can challenge, I just want to see how they respond to it. And I said, well, you're talking about passing Amendment 4 because you want to keep out of town and out of the country money out of our Constitution. At the same time, you're pushing for Amendment 5, and we have, at the time, I said $15 trillion flooding in, and we don't know where that's coming from. We know it's not based out of Missouri, and we don't know where it's coming from. That you don't care about at all, because I guess it serves your agenda. But on the other side, where the citizens get a say in their Constitution, that you don't like, because out-of-town money floods in and it sways us. How do you have it both ways? How do you not recognize the hypocrisy?
Well, I think what you're seeing there is, and you can see this if you look at different groups and different people, there's really two philosophies. There's the one philosophy that we don't want to change the system. We just want to get control of the system for ourselves so we can use it for our own good.
That's exactly it.
And then there's groups like us, and I think People's Lobby and Shield Maidens, that we're saying the system is flawed and we got to fix this.
I mean, I think that's exactly.
That might clip you in my commercials. That might clip you in my commercials, because that's how I've never said it that way, but that's exactly how I see it. You're basically just changing power structures. You're not changing the system and making it better for the people. You're saying, okay, if we get control of the system, we can pad the pockets of our buddies and the people that do the contracts on the left, or we can do it on the right, or if this, I mean, even at
even amongst conservative. Even amongst conservatives, you see that. You see some conservatives that want to have a system that works for the state. And others conservatives say, well, we just want to capture the system that we have now. And we'll do even when they're thinking they're going to do all the good stuff, but we'll have the power to do it then. But we're not going to change. They don't want to change the system. They just want control.
I think that's really probably the biggest dividing line in the Republican Party right now. Is there's people, they're like, no, the system, we're going to use it to our advantage, and we're in control, and we're going to remain in control, and so we're going to manipulate it in our favor. And then there's other Republicans that are saying, maybe you're more constitutionalist and you're more conservative, saying, no, we need to do good policy for the people, and the system is flawed. We want a better system. And that, you can see why there'd be a rivalry, right? Because who wants to change the system when it's working in your favor? And don't think the Democrats wouldn't do the same thing. So all of those that are on the thing that say vote blue, I'm like, okay, listen, if the Dems were to get in control, they would do the exact same thing. They think, oh, well, we're in power. So their top tier people would be like, well, let's make sure we keep it. And let's lay out our strategy, and let's connect it. It's
bringing our people in our system.
So get off of the Democrat Republican thing and start thinking like an American citizen and fight for your rights. I'm ranting.
You gotta fight.
I gotta go for your rights.
Another one we gotta get for Amy.
Hey, go, Amy.
I know. I like all these songs. I'm a Gen Xer, right? So the music is all there for me.
What are these songs?
That was Beastie Boys.
I know Isaiah's the young one.
Poor Isaiah.
I'm just teasing.
A bunch of old folks.
So we were in Marshall. I gotta say this. We were in Marshall on Tuesday, and I kid you not, Melissa Thompson stood up there with Freedom Principle and said she would be willing to give up 100 of her rights as a citizen in order to pass A4. I wanted to run from the back of that theater up onto the stage and shake her and go, what in the hell is wrong with you? Why would you give up you just said, she basically told everybody, you haven't done shit, you haven't been involved, you're never going to get involved. Therefore, we need A4 because you guys are so incompetent that we need to trust our legislatures. And she's willing to give up her rights.
Yeah.
She basically said the people don't know what they're doing. They can't get it done. They won't do it right. Yeah. So it just needs to be, and that's why we need to keep the path for the legislature the same, because we need them to be able to do this for us.
Yes.
They're the experts. They're the white coats.
And that's Freedom Principle. So she was there speaking on behalf of Freedom Principle. So people, pay attention to this. And if you agree with that, then give them your money. But that to me, I'm furious. I was furious.
They're starting to be everywhere, by the way, Freedom Principle.
Yeah. Sure, because they're getting watch their money too.
That's what I'm saying.
And you guys will find this interesting. So one of the board members is the the vice chair of the Franklin County Republican Committee down here.
Yes.
And he just stepped down to do other things at the state level.
Yes.
He said.
Yes.
To help out there. So I said,
oh, that Mr.
gosh,
Wells.
No, Roger Jackson.
Oh, Roger.
Yeah,
yes.
Roger Jackson. And so he said,
Isaiah?
So he stepped down from the Republican Central Committee so that he can do some things at the state level. That's all we other people
He's
got.
tightly aligned with Amy DeClue, so maybe there's something going on there.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see.
He's
I had one question.
Amy DeClue wins, and he goes to work with her. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, I got a question about the budget that I thought Mike would be able to kind of help me understand and maybe answer too, because I found this breakdown here. The 2026 budget. We always talk about how 50% of the total budget comes from federal money. You can see that right there.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't have the understanding of what these funds are. I didn't even have an understanding until, a year before I'm running for my office here. Like, what are these funds? Where does the money come from? What it can be used for, right? And so we have the state general fund, and then they break it down further there on the right for us to see that $8.7 billion right now comes from the individual income tax that they're trying to eliminate. And only $3.1 billion comes in from sales and use tax. So, Mike, am I understanding this right? That they would have to now generate $12.8 billion in sales and usage taxes to ensure that they're revenue neutral. Am I understanding that correctly here?
That's correct.
That's correct.
Okay, that is insane.
And that's the number you have to watch, because sometimes they'll just use the 8.7. But if you still have to generate the 3.1 billion that you're generating now from sales tax and an additional 8.7.
Exactly.
And that's a number you have to watch on the other side, because they like to leave that off and make it sound lower than it is. So if you look at $3 billion and that $3 billion is generated from the 3% that comes in from the state sales tax. So it's almost really 1% per $1 billion. So if you add that up, if they tax exactly the same things, you're looking at 11 to 12% state sales tax. Now they'll say, well, when we expand it, that'll go down, and that is true. But how much are they going to be able to expand to, and then how much is going to be subtracted back out when they start making exceptions for people?
I also want to add in, so Isaiah, so there's that clause that says when the income tax drops to 4.5%, the corporate gains tax goes away.
Yeah, the corporations will be able to
capital gains.
Yeah, will be able to deduct their capital gains.
And that's another how much? 1 point.
It's really not a good figure on that.
I know, but it's a figure.
It was about $200 million from what they estimated, but they said that estimation was very flawed in the financial or the fiscal note, because it only incorporated what came through electronically, and they don't know what came through paper-wise. Yeah. One thing while we're here, this is a great chart that I'd like to point out. On the side where it shows the federal funds, the state general funds, and the other state funds. Now, when you start asking them, hey, we need to cut spending, they'll tell you that the only thing that they can cut from is that state general funds. The federal funds is set in stone, and they don't talk about this other state funds. This is what, and I don't know if Lisa brought this up yesterday or not, but she's brought it up before. We're seeing more and more in the budget and different things where they'll pass bills and they'll say, money. One of them I saw that I don't know it got passed or not, but they were going to take the arts money and they were going to put it in a separate account. That's what these other funds are. This is called siloing, and so that removes it from the general funds, and it kind of keeps it so that that's money that they can't touch in the future. So that's one of the ways that we're driving ourselves over the fiscal cliff.
Very interesting.
Wow. Yeah, I had to ask you because I found that chart and
that's a good chart.
Someone was asking me about something, and they're asking me why people are basically opposing Amendment 5 in a legitimate question, not, trying to get one over on me, right? I said it's not that people are against eliminating the income tax. It's that they don't understand how we're going to transfer this tax burden when we're going to go from 20% of the budget being from sales and usage tax to 80% of the budget coming from 80% of the revenue. 80% of the revenue now coming from sales and usage tax. That's a 60% jump. That's crazy.
Yeah, and let me add this onto that, because they talk a lot about all these other states that don't have state income tax. Well, most of them never really had a state income tax. Tennessee's one that they always threw out there. It had a very small tax. It was like 1% of their budget. So when they eliminated that, that's pretty easy to absorb compared to what we're looking at here. The comparison is for Kansas. Kansas also relied heavily on the state income tax. And, you know, that was an absolute disaster over there. Their Republicans lost in landslides after that. And they've just finally just started to recover. And the state was in a disaster. And again, it's the same folks that were supporting eliminating their income tax that are over here traveling around the state.
Yes. Yeah, that's it's you know, that's true because Doug Billings, who lives in Kansas, he came out against Amendment 5. Which we were very surprised about, but he knows.
We were too.
He knows from personal experience.
Yeah.
Well, he would have been there through that whole debacle that they went through.
Yeah.
Right on. Anything else, guys? I gotta check it out. The guy that's on deck he's been a victim of the flock camera system.
I know. I'm curious about that story.
Yeah, well, it's the second one because when he reached out to us, I don't know how we got a hold of him. I don't know I think John Grady might have been involved in it. And I was reading it. I said to him, I talked to him last night on the phone. I said, "Is this the one that KMOV Channel 4 in St. Louis was talking about?" He goes, "No, that's a different one." So
there's been so many of them. Wow. No, there's tons.
But people are still fighting for these things. I hear people say all the time, you know, this is going to be great. You know, they're aimed at our parks. You know, we don't have to worry. You know, this. Like, man, oh man,
Rob, you should on social media.
It's the same argument, like you're saying, Amy. Oh, I'm willing to give up some of my freedoms.
Yeah, so. That's exactly. They say, I'm telling you, it's like COVID all over again. Oh, it's for my safety.
Correct.
Oh, it's going to keep us safe. I'm like, you guys are fools, absolute fools.
100%.
Have you not been played? We already were played once.
Why would you trust anything that this government is doing and think that they're doing it without some kind of end game?
I have no idea.
I mean, that was one of the things that came up, you know, when we had this debate Tuesday night in Marshall. Where I was I was playing the wolf and Mr. No part. As I say, I was arguing no for Amendment 4 against Melissa Thomas, and then arguing no on Amendment 5 against Tom Estes.
Oh, really? How'd that go?
Yeah. But the theme really came down to, you know, and they were shocked. You guys don't trust us. Why wouldn't you trust? You should trust your legislature.
That's what Bishop Davidson told me.
Yeah, that you vote to put us in here. I mean, both of them were that was their line, and I don't think that went over too well.
But again, it's like, what don't you trust? We don't trust the system, right? And you know, the theory of if we just send better people up there. Yes, we should send better people up there, but we're throwing them into a corrupt machine. The best they can probably do is cause some interference and block.
That's it.
As far as making progress, and to expect them, and when you hear these candidates, they say, I'm going to go up there and I'm going to do all this. No, bullshit, you're not going to do anything because it's a corrupt system. So you're going to fall in line and you're going to be bought off.
Or you'll be alienated.
Or you're going to be alienated.
And you'll be like John Grady and you got to raise money to be bonded out eventually, right?
Right. And you know, and the alienation, let's talk about that because everybody thinks they're going to be so strong. It's hard to do that.
It must be.
It's a lot of pressure. And I mean, and they are nasty. So don't think that it's just like, oh, no, they actually go after you. So, I mean, so when his candidates start telling you they're going to go up and make all these changes, I'm like, I'm out. They don't understand the system. They're going to be bought off because they're going to get up there and and then I have to ask myself, well, can they hold the alienation? Do I think they can stand and be bullied and harassed and, you know,
and cajoled too, right? Because they bring you in.
Yes.
So you're like, okay. You'll be a part of the team. This is a team game.
It's like it's a psychological.
And all those constituents, they're coming after us.
Don't
we understand.
Are you a part of the GOP? Are you part of the proposal? I mean, what was it? Patterson wanted Wolfen to sing the school chant.
The Missouri College.
Yeah, deprivation. I mean,
because he voted against PQ or. He thought that they wanted to end debate in the House on something, and he thought that it didn't go long enough. So he was one of the few Republicans that voted to keep debate going on. And Patterson, you know, pulled him aside and said, we got to work.
We got to be a team. You need to do something.
Need to show me you're a team player. Would you sing the Missouri fight song with me? And
in front of everybody. And
in front of everybody.
He just said, I'm not going to deprivate myself for you.
But again, bringing this full circle back, to when you're looking at candidates, somebody like John Grady, I have no doubt he's not going to have a problem if
Right.
he has to sit in the lunchroom by himself. And that's something that Ike Skelton told me. You know, he said, I was used to it in school. I sat in the lunchroom by myself. And you know, somebody like that we know what he did with the camera, the flock cameras there in the county. I think those are the kind of things you need to look for. Will they have the stamina to stand alone? Because that's what it's going to take.
I got to add to that. So District 5 race, really tight between Bratton and Burks. You need to ask that question about those two guys. Who's going to be able to sit at that lunch table alone? And there is only one candidate that I feel has a chance to do that. And I don't think the other one, because we've already seen it here in Missouri. No, he likes to be liked, and he's already bought out.
We went to here in Johnson County. There was supposed to be a debate for the U.S. Congress 5th District, and Bratton was supposed to be there, and he didn't show up again. So he's, you know, it's just
you guys would be interested to know this if you look in the FEC PACs that are connected to Eric Burleson and Bob Onder are donating to Rick Bratton.
Yeah, not surprised.
I'm not surprised. Yeah,
not surprised at all. He needs to go back to being a full-time citizen. It's time to go back.
I don't know if you guys know this, but I just want to remind you.
It's a big club. You ain't in it.
That is so
You
true.
and I are not in the big club.
Not in the big club. I mean, it's
Not
just,
sure I want to be in the big club.
That's true, and people need to remember that too.
All right, I got to bring this guy on. Do you guys want to come back? I mean, we got tomorrow and Monday. If you guys do, just reach out to me, and we'll get you back on either tomorrow.
Tomorrow we can't. We're with Nadine at 9. But maybe
we could jump on Monday if we want to talk some more about the election right before we get in there.
If you want to just recommend people, if you want to highlight certain races that you think are important, that kind of thing. If you want to do that, I'll put time aside on Monday, and we'll have you back on Monday before the primaries on Tuesday.
Okay, that'll work.
All right.
All right.
Amy Castro.
Later,
Michael
guys.
Compton, act4mo.org. Let me get the book out for you.
Thank you guys so much for putting it up on the display. I really, really do appreciate it.
There it is. You got to buy that book right there.
There it is.
And thank you for the signature on it. I appreciate that, Michael. But I got to tell you, if the world works out perfect, we're going to gain some traction. We're going to get this into schools and libraries. So people at some point, when it goes south, that's when people really start to pay attention.
Yeah.
They still have air conditioning. They got food to eat and they're still surviving. They're going to let it go. But at some time, if things snap, they're going to want to know how to keep the Republic. And I highly recommend the book, Keeping the Republic. You can find it on Amazon, written by Michael Compton. There's the picture. All right, everybody.
I'd prefer if you buy it at keepingtherepublicbook.com.
Me too. Keep Amazon out there.
It's fine either way. It works out the same for me right now. So.
Isaiah always one step ahead of me. You should hear him chastise me. I don't do things the way he likes.
Yeah.
The youngin. He's the youngin.
He's the boss of the operation. It's fantastic. Michael, Amy, have a great day. We'll see you guys on Monday then. So we'll put time together.
You guys,
Take care,
thank you for having us on.
Will you do me a favor?
What?
Will you tell Nadine I said hi? I think she does a terrific job.
Yeah, of course.
Tell Nadine I said hi. All right, you got it. Enjoy the day. Right
Take
on.
care, guys.
All right,
Isaiah, let me get my book back up here. Let me get some advertising in here real fast, and then we'll bring in this guy's name is Jeremiah Bush. I talked to him for about 10 minutes last night, and the story that he tells are what we should all be afraid of when it comes to the surveillance system that's being put in. Somebody sent me, one of our listeners sent me a whole bunch of information about flock cameras, safety cameras, the surveillance system. Sounded a lot like me, but he had some secret audio. It was kind of hard for me to make out, so I didn't want to play it on the show. But it is, people within the system talking about how they can basically have control over people, see everything that they're doing. And I just think it's insane. And when the reason I wanted Jeremiah to come on is because I think when you humanize it and you can show what the potential disaster is with total surveillance, then it starts to hit home a little bit. When it's abstract and it's out there and you really don't know what's going on, it's just, you know what, they're keeping the schools safe. They're keeping the park safe. What's the big deal? I'm not doing anything wrong. Be careful what you wish for. It's all I have to say.
That's how I felt when
you don't want your government
video from Jake about that lady in O'Fallon who was talking about her husband.
Yeah,
was identified, and he's a white guy. The suspect was black,
and they
showed up to his house.
I think they went into his house with 7 SWAT teams. It's unbelievable.
Crazy.
All right, EXP Realty and Debbie Genus. Debbie Genus, again, if you're looking for a home or if you're trying to sell a home and you're within the Missouri state limits, the Illinois state limits, or the Florida state limits, you can rely on Deborah.Genus. That's spelled Jeanis at exprealty.com. I don't want to sing her praises all day long, but you just got to remember 28 years in the real estate game, the ups and downs and the crazy turnarounds. And then, of course, she's in the insurance business for 14 years. So just for me, if you don't have like a friend that's going to sell your home and you're looking for somebody, you want somebody who's trustworthy, that knows all the ins and outs, that will sell your home at the proper price. And if you're somebody that's on the other side of it, trying to buy a home, you want somebody who knows the game inside and out to find you the proper home, get you the right price, know all the pitfalls of buying a home. Illinois, Missouri, and Florida. Deborah Genus, write down the number if you don't mind, 314-482-9205. She is our realtor for the family here, for the family that comes on every morning and comments and checks everything out by like, share, comment, subscribe. We forgot that today, Isaiah. Like, share, comment, subscribe. And by the way, just FYI, Isaiah and I were talking about it this morning. X, I just got to bring this up. X was where the freedom was at. When we started the show, we were just cruising on X. That was where our biggest audience was by far.
10,000 views on one show.
Yeah, X was rolling. And then we started talking about Israel and elections. And you got to remember, now X is almost insignificant in our business right now.
Yes.
But what happened was, you have to remember, we played that clip. I got to bring that out. We'll start playing that every day to remind X that we don't like this. This is the suffocation of free speech. But if you remember, Bibi Netanyahu said, what is the most important thing for us to do? It is to take over. TikTok. Now we get TikTok, and he goes, and then the next one, what should it be? And he's asking these questions, and they go X, and he goes, yes, X, and we should be able to get control of X because Elon is a friend. Well, they got control of X. Trust me when I tell you, they got control of X, and it's the only reason it's depressing. It's not because of us. We're going to get our message out. We're advertiser based, so we're fine. But it is just so frustrating that the suffocation of free speech is so real. It's right in front of everybody's face, and you don't feel it unless you're doing what we're doing. If you're independent press and you don't like Fox News or CNN, and you realize that's a big scam, and you want independent voices to communicate with, and you see what happens, it's just so depressing. Anyway, EXP Realty, Debbie Genus, 314-482-9205. 28 years in the real estate business, excellent service, focused on results. Debbie Genus, 314-482-9205. And then advancedwellnessmed.com. This is our good friend, Dr. Helen Gelhot. This is real easy for me. If you're somebody who is concerned about Alzheimer or dementia in your family, first call you should make, without a doubt, and you should make it immediately, is Dr. Helen Gelhot at 314-576-0094, advancedwellnessmed.com. I say it every day. She is the person that specializes on things that kill you. Feel, think, look better, and live longer. That's her credo, and she assists the divine healer. Earliest cancer detection blood test on the market. So if you get these things quick, if you're somebody who has cancer in your family or something's just not right, you want to you bring your blood test. You can get the insurance to cover the blood test. Bring it to her. Let her look through it, and she'll put you on the path to better health. Alzheimer and dementia, symptom reversal, and always pre-screenings for heart attacks and strokes. Anything that kills you, she specializes in. You will dig her. I'm telling you. AdvancedWellnessMed.com. Dr. Helen Gelhot, spelled Gelhot, 314-576-0094. She is the doctor of our show. And then one more, rackcustomcoatings.com. This is my good friend, Rich McQuay. I'm trying to get him a car, Isaiah, through another buddy of mine.
Nice.
Rich McQuay, rackcustomcoatings.com. If you're somebody who spends time in your garage, maybe you work out in the garage, you've got all your tools out in the garage, or you have people over for Sunday football, or you have a little sitting area in your garage because you like to be outside. Your wife wants you out because you're aggravating her, so you've got the man cave in the garage. We know who you are, right? This custom flooring epoxy is not very expensive, but the curb appeal and just how it makes everything look clean and nice, it is just wonderful for garages. But businesses can really take advantage of rackcustomcoatings.com. Great price. This is for industrial spaces, schools, retail environments. Rackcustomcoatings.com. As he likes to say, we install industrial strength, long-lasting coatings built to handle anything your home or business can throw at them. And from garages to commercial spaces, Rack Custom Coatings delivers tough, beautiful finishes that last, where quality meets craftsmanship. There's some of the work on the screen. Can't beat it. If you want to reach out to my good friend Rich McQuay, you can do it at rackcustomcoatings.com or reach him at 636-398-5040. Let's bring on Jeremiah Bush, and I apologize, Jeremiah, for the long wait. We do this on occasion. We're not skilled professionals at managing our time, my friend. How are you?
I'm existing, man. I'm existing.
trying to get by, my friend. I understand it. So you reached out, I think, through John Grady. Are you friends with John Grady? I don't know how he got a hold of your story.
I'm not, man. I have honestly just been reaching out, trying to find contact information because for just about anybody, honestly, to get this out there, because this officer he now has a ex parte order of protection issued against him as of day before yesterday for harassing his ex-wife.
Okay, so let me tell the story the way I understand it. You tell me where I get it wrong, and you can elaborate it on just a bit.
Yeah.
So you are somebody that is upset because a police officer, which has a lot of power, you can be a little bit afraid of police officers every now and again when they're on the wrong side of things. But this police officer, as you understand it, and as you believe, was stalking his ex-wife, who you're now dating?
Yes.
Okay, so stalking his ex-wife, which you are now dating, and he was stalking his ex-wife through the Flock, or I don't know if it's Flock because that's a brand, through the safety camera system. So he's able to watch every move around town that she's making because he now is looking through these systems and he's tracking his ex-wife or soon-to-be ex-wife. I'm not sure how that plays out. Who you are now dating, and she feels very
ex-wife.
Yeah, because she's being monitored all the time. So
Yeah.
you made a complaint. Tell us about the complaint, what it said, and the response that you got.
All right. I filed official affidavit, typed it up, got it signed, notarized, all that. I'm going to obviously omit her name from what I'm reading off, but this is the complaint that I filed. It's sitting right in front of me. The subject of the complaint was Detective Philip Meyer of the Brentwood Police Department in Missouri. I, Jeremiah Bush, hereby file this complaint and request formal investigation into the conduct of Detective Philip Meyer for the following incidents. Incident 1, June 9th, harassment and verbal abuse of his ex-wife. On June 9th, 2026, I was on a phone call with her when I personally overheard Detective Meyer in the background harassing and verbally abusing her. She was in the process, the divorce had already been finalized, and she was in the process of loading one of those pod shipping containers and getting away from him because there was a history of violence. And he already had another woman waiting in the wings. But he was harassing and verbally abusing her, making threats against her, and refusing to leave her personal space that escalated so much so that she had to barricade herself in her room because they had separate living quarters. In her room with an antique armoire she had to push in front of the door after she finally got him out of the room. And I contacted Jefferson County Sheriff's Department about a domestic situation. They responded at approximately 12, midnight 12, on June 9th. And then they made sure that she was able to vacate the premises because he was too intoxicated to drive.
So he gets to stay because he's drunk, so they move her away to keep her safe.
Yeah, exactly, which I understand that. Separation is the key to that.
Right.
Sheriff's deputies witnessed Detective Meyer being heavily intoxicated at the time. They also directly witnessed Philip Meyer I've also witnessed him directly committing ongoing felony harassment against her, including repeated unwanted calls and text messages, her phone blowing up while I'm with her. After she has explicitly told him to stop and leave her alone. His actions appear intended to intimidate and threaten her. Additional misuse of department resources. Detective Philip Meyer has bragged about using Brentwood Police Department resources to track her vehicle by running her license plate information through law enforcement databases. He also stated he directed another officer referred to as Al, who I'm assuming, I have no proof of this, to be his co-detective by the name of Alex, to use the department's information system for this purpose. Second incident was June 16th at approximately 9 p.m. Detective Philip Meyer made a direct threat of violence against me. We were on the phone talking about getting her moved because that was the last day she was going to be there, getting her moved out and safely away into her new place. He stated he yelled over her phone while we were on the conversation, "Show up and I have something for you. I can shoot you if you come on my property. You don't know who I am. I have brothers and sisters that will protect me."
Meaning the police force.
Exactly.
Right.
Implying he would get away with it due to being a police officer. He also stated that he wanted me to pull up so he can run my plates to get more information about me, intending that implying he intended to locate my address in connection with these threats of violence. Give me 1 second. I'm doing this one-handed and it's breezy out.
And so there's an admission that they were from somebody that they were tracking your girlfriend, his ex-wife's car through the safety camera systems.
Yeah.
Safety camera systems
through the flock system.
That, yeah. Okay.
And additionally, Philip Myers made repeated slanderous, defamatory statements about me, falsely accusing me and using his police status to say that I'm a criminal, I'm a member of a biker gang, that I'm dangerous, that I'm a thug. He had no information. He did not have enough information to run my name. He went through her. She had left her watch at home, which connects to a phone. So it had all the text messages. So he went through all her messages and came up with that.
Gotcha. But I thought it was illegal. I don't know if you know this, but I thought it was illegal. You had to have some in order to track anybody's license plate. They had to be in some kind of database as somebody that had a warrant out for their arrest or somebody that was that the cops were looking for. The way I was understanding it is I was hearing people kind of support this flock camera or safety cameras, whatever you want to call them, was that they couldn't do this. And then KMOV comes out and says that it was happening in a different town. Now you're saying the same thing, that if a cop wants to track any in particular person, they can do it. They just have to put somebody's name into a base, and then all the, everywhere that person went, if the flock cameras or the safety cameras come out and say, okay, boom, they're at this time, boom, here at this time, boom, 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 and you kind of track all of their movements.
Yeah, that's my understanding of it.
Yeah, we were told that couldn't happen, and to me, that is happening.
And they apparently kicked the investigation to St. Louis County Sheriff's Department. St. Louis County Sheriff's Department actually said that they did find that he did use the system to track her plates, but St. Louis County Prosecutor's Office was not going to pursue charges.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So that means there's no repercussions for doing it.
Exactly. And I've even got a letter right here from the chief of Brentwood Police Department.
Can you read that for me? Because that's the one I'm most interested in. Because if they're acknowledging that this person was stalking his ex-wife, and everybody takes this as truth because they have some evidence that happened, and there's no repercussions for it, then I just think we're in a really bad spot.
I don't know if I can turn my camera around, so I'm just going to turn my phone around to show you that this is on Brentwood Police letterhead.
All right. Got it. Isaiah, you see that? Are you a witness? Isaiah, he's on to something else. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I was muted. I bear witness.
I bear witness. I just wanted a witness. That's all.
But it actually says it's from Chief Joseph Spees. I might be pronouncing that incorrectly. RE allegation of misconduct. Sir, based on your written complaint received June 18th, the following actions were taken. St. Louis County PD was asked to investigate this matter for possible criminal charges that occurred in their jurisdiction. The Jefferson County Sheriff's Department was also asked to investigate potential criminal charges occurring in Arnold, Missouri. Our internal investigation revealed sustained policy violations.
There you go.
So if those policy violations through their department exist, the only policy violation that I'm aware of with that would actually truly involve the police department is him using their system to stalk his ex-wife.
And nothing happened.
Not that I'm aware of.
You know if he made like a hot list, Jeremiah? Is that how he tracked her? That's what I've been hearing from these other stories, is that, and I can turn my camera on here, sorry, that the hot lists, they're creating them with the license plate number, and that notifies the police officer every time they go into a flock camera. Is Is that what was happening here too, or do you not have that information?
I do not have access to that information. I don't know exactly how he did
That's
it.
what a lot of people are saying is happening out there, and they've provided their proof. I was just curious if this case is.
No, yeah, I understand that fully. I don't have access to that depth of information. I just know that the chief admitted that he misused police resources to stalk his ex-wife. And I know that St. Louis County Sheriff's Department found that he used the system to stalk his ex-wife, but I believe it was running her plate.
Yeah.
Because they asked for all the license plates that I used and all that. So
I would venture to guess then that it's probably something similar to what those other officers were caught doing. It's creating those hot lists, because what I found out is that the flock system, you can create these lists in their software.
Yeah.
And then every time someone with that license plate drives by a flock camera, then that officer gets a notification about it.
Right. Which would make sense. Which would it make sense for like tracking a stolen vehicle?
Correct.
Yes.
But then this is the point. This is the point I think we're both making. The idea, it seems wonderful, right? Because if there's a warrant out for somebody's arrest who did something violent, or there is a stolen car, this makes perfect sense. But every time you offer security to society, it has risks. And here's the risk they're talking about. Now they're talking about the safety cameras all over the country. So it's like a control grid. You can't move anywhere or do anything. So if you get the wrong person, who has nefarious intent, all they have to do is say, I want to follow Isaiah. Isaiah is irritating me. Isaiah is speaking out against the cops, because like Jeffrey Winehouse, we talk about all the time. I told you that story last night, Jeremiah. But say you want to track his movements. So I just say that I don't like Jeffrey Winehouse. I'm going to put his into my system here. And now every move this man makes, I can follow, despite the fact he's challenging the police department themselves. Bad news, if you ask me. Bad news. I don't like where this is going. And I can already tell, just in the first couple months of people bringing it to our attention, that there's already complaints going on with police officers abusing the safety camera systems. And you can only imagine where it goes when big government gets this thing 25 years from now, what they're going to be able to do to citizens. Crazy.
Oh, nationwide officers are getting caught using the system for stalking people. It's insane, and there's almost no repercussions. Like, I contacted Missouri's Post, the police officer, I forget what the S is, and training department, the people that actually license officers in Missouri.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And they're supposed to be doing an investigation on it. Huh?
The post certification, I think, is what it's called.
Right? Yes. Because there's on their website, it says, moral turpitude. If this isn't moral turpitude that should cause a license to be revoked, I don't know what is.
Well, you got to figure out how to get to the bottom of this. So Isaiah, can you look it up real fast? Who is the mayor of Brentwood, Missouri? Who's the mayor?
Mr. DeMitt.
Mr. DeMitt.
My next course of action is I'm actually going to contact the mayor and the alderman there and try to explain the situation to them, forward them the information that I have. That's the reason I'm reaching out to media, is because unfortunately nobody seems to care unless public outcry gets involved in there, in fear of losing their jobs and votes.
Come on now,
Wow.
Jeremiah. This is the exact thing that I say. Thinking they're going to change it by doing this, that, and the other. I said, no. The only thing that makes government move is outcry from the public, to the point where that pressure is so intense they have to do something. Other than that, this police officer's probably got a bunch of buddies that work on the police department. He's been around there for years. They're going to protect him. The mayor's office. Everybody protects everybody else, and the citizens get squeezed.
And those guys actually came from, I believe it was St. Louis, and have worked together. Like, a few of them have worked together, is my understanding. So they're definitely on the buddy system.
Gotcha.
The great thing about the mayor, Jeremiah, is that his term expires in April. So
yeah, he might want to get something done.
Oh, he's going to want to get something done. I'm an elected official, Jeremiah, in my city.
Yeah.
This is a great time to approach him with this story.
Well, and Brentwood actually seems to be a rather wealthy city based on the amount that they pay their officers.
It is
very wealthy.
Where are you coming from? You had are you?
I'm in Illinois.
You're in
I'm
Illinois,
2 hours away, and I actually had to call the police about him threatening her.
Where are you at? What part of town are you in Illinois? General area.
Just north of Marion.
Okay. All right. So that's a long drive back into town. Are you nervous about this guy? Is this something that you think, well, this cop could
Absolutely not. If he is so much of a coward that he has to batter his wife, I have no reason to fear a man like that.
Good for you.
Love it.
I say no fear, but I say you got to have repercussions for your actions. Police, the police forces that abuse power that is some of the most destructive things to society is when police abuse their power, and that's why I get so stuck on your case. The story of Jeffrey Winehouse drives me absolutely crazy, like an itch in my brain that I can't get rid of. Knowing, I think I told you, this guy videotaped an assassination attempt on his own life, and then the cops put him in prison.
Yeah,
it's amazing. And
it's amazing the power that's being wielded.
Yes,
by people that shouldn't have the power.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Amen. All right, brother. Keep us updated when you talk. Well, I think we might reach out to the mayor of Brentwood as well. But if you contact him, just let us know how this all plays out. Because what we're following is, this is a flock safety camera situation. So the flock safety cameras are being abused by the police, and they can do it on. Right now, it just happens to be his ex-wife, but it could be anybody that he maybe has a run-in with somebody at Walmart and goes, "Who is that person?" Gets their plates, and now he has revenge on him, and it just allows for too much. I don't like flock. I don't like security.
Yeah, it's a system that allows police to access information. If you or I tried to do the same thing,
correct,
to track somebody, we would go to jail for stalking.
Amen.
We would get arrested.
That's
he
my
can
point.
say that he was concerned about her well-being because she didn't contact him. That's his ex-wife.
Mm-hmm.
There is no reason for him to run her name. If he was that concerned, why didn't he file a missing persons report?
Right, it's an abuse of power.
Yeah, you could do welfare check. Call the local police if you're that concerned. You know what I mean?
Exactly. But if he was concerned about her missing, he could have filed a report about it.
Yes.
I got to ask you real fast, Jeremiah, because my wife did this to me unbeknownst to what I was. She those little tags that you put in your she put.
Oh, the air tags.
You put that in my backpack. I said, well, hey, what's going on around here? You're tracking me everywhere I go. She goes, where are you at right now? I said, why do you ask? She goes, are you over? I said, yeah. How do you know? She had that air tag, and that's how I knew that she was. My wife is tracking me. Now I don't mind it necessarily because my wife is smoking hot, and I love her very much, but. The idea that you can track people all the time seems very odd to me, but it seems to be the new world we're living in. Jeremiah, thanks for joining us, brother. Thanks for telling us that story because I'm interested.
I did want to confirm that was the Brentwood PD. Just to
that was Brentwood Police Department.
Okay, cool. We'll definitely try to get a comment from them.
Yeah, keep us posted when. Just reach out to me on email when you get something back from the mayor's office. I'd be curious to see how they handle it. Just let us know because I want to follow these stories.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Good luck to you, man.
Thanks, Jeremiah.
Thanks.
All right, buddy.
Bye, guys.
All right. I don't know what to make of all these things. I just know
crazy.
I just know that I don't like government having that much power. You watch what happened to Jeffrey Winehouse and you kind of see where these things can go. And what's even more disturbing at the Jeffrey Winehouse case might be the same situation here. There's no repercussions for these actions.
Yeah.
They just go unchecked. It seems very un-American to me, because the idea of America is freedom. And when you have a situation like this, there's no freedom.
Oh, yeah. We got to send Elliot Davis out to him. That's right, Tammy. 100%.
What's Bill saying? I did sell shoes in Marion. What are you talking about? I sold shoes in every town in the world.
He said it's a prison town.
Marion is a prison town.
That's great.
You been to Marion, Illinois?
No, never even heard of it. When he said Marion, I was like, am I supposed to know that?
It is a prison town. There's no doubt about it. All right, let me get us a little bit more advertising in. We'll move the show along. Let's do ECS Roofing, Isaiah. ECS Roofing. Don't play his commercial because we got taken off the platforms by playing the music in the background of his commercial. My man, Larry Evans. He is our general contractor for the show. So if you're in the family and you need a roof, if you got to fix your roof, siding, gutters, garage doors, you name it, ECS Roofing and Exteriors. You can check them out on Facebook. Check out their work. The reason I love them is because they're conscientious and they give you a great price. ECS Roofing and Exteriors. Again, roofing, siding, decks, gutters, garage doors, custom exterior metal, residential or commercial, doesn't matter to him. New construction, storm damage, you name it, he'll take care of you. Been around for 30 years, conscientious, great guy, great wife, great family, great business. ECS Roofing and Exteriors. You can reach him at 314-486-3567. And then, of course, Carrington Financial. Stock market was down big yesterday, Isaiah.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to keep an eye on it. Probably will rebound today. It just goes up and down and all over the place. But Carrington Financial, Rick Babbitt's every Tuesday at 11 o'clock. You can see him, take a measure of the man, see what you think. But for me, I like somebody who understands the politics, the history, the currencies, the everything. He knows everything about what you need to know to guide somebody's finances. He'd be my pick over everybody that I've ever met in my life. And I like not losing money. I'm one of those people that does not like losing money. Rick Babbitt's 314-671-0525. He is your caringadvisor.com. Biblical principles with your money. I say if you get any kind of advice, get his advice. So if you have somebody that's controlling your money now, maybe it's one of those big firms like, oh, my money's with so-and-so, that's going to be great. I'd say talk to Rick Babbitt's, get a second, get a third, get a fourth opinion, but get Rick Babbitt's opinion. And it's spelled Bavetz, Rick Babbitt's, 314-671-0525. And then we can let's do one more. Let's do Valvoline.
Let's do it.
And then we'll move the show along. Valvoline Express Care. Valvoline Express Care for our good friend Tony Clark. Again, everybody has to get an oil change. Keep it in the family. 15 minutes from bay to on your way. That's what he likes to tell everybody. Quick, easy, efficient oil changes. He's been in this game forever. And he said the biggest complaints we got were the oil changes took too long or people were trying to upsell him with all these different things. And he said, I promised that when I started my business, I would not do that. Valvoline Express Care. Go to Valvoline Express Care. Get your coupons. Look up the locations. One time with the locations, Isaiah. Cape Girardeau, Missouri, Highland, Illinois, Troy, Illinois, Lee May Ferry Road, Warrenton, Missouri, Mid Rivers Mall Drive, and St. Peter's Parkway. When it's time for an oil change, always Tony Clark and Valvoline Express Care. Again, if you want to get coupons or locations because you want to help the cause, it's Valvoline-expresscare.com. All right. What were the big topics of the day for us today, Isaiah? The whole COVID thing. Do you think
COVID was our main? That's what we were really going deep into, was the COVID.
You think that was a pretty good explanation? I try to get that, and I know that it goes right over the top of some people's head. They don't want to hear anything. Yeah, they don't want to. They don't want to see their own flaws in the way they think. That's what I had to do in order to do what I wanted to do, which was be honest on this podcast, be honest on the radio. Was I had to evaluate my shortcomings. Bill knows very well because Bill listens to the show, and he and I were friends. I think he was one of the people that thought I was crazy in my original fighting for Donald Trump. He was one of those people that didn't like him from the very beginning. And I just, I had to look at myself and say, why am I believing all of these different things? Why am I waving the flag when it comes to war with Iraq? Why am I buying into all of these things? Why do I think the Democrats are evil and the Republicans are good? Where did this notion come from? Because I as I go back through time, I didn't have this feeling for 40 something years of my life. It was something that came on late in life. And I started to think, maybe it's because of the news outlets that I'm watching, and maybe it's because of the way the information is packaged for me. Maybe it's the images that I see on television that are brainwashing me, and I don't even recognize it within myself. So I had to do the self-evaluation, Isaiah, and now I come at it and I say, okay, now I can understand where people are coming from based on religious beliefs, based on, party ideology, and I can kind of dissect those a little bit better now because we've made this our livelihoods. And I've come to the conclusion that all of that Democrat, Republican stuff is a complete and total waste of your time. It's hurting you. It's hurting the country. It's hurting society. It just is not worth your time and energy. Each individual person, if they call themselves a Democrat, great. If they call themselves a Republican, great. A libertarian, great. Independent, great. Doesn't matter. But look at the person individually and say, is that a good person that's going to go do work for me within this system? And if the answer is yes, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, I say go for it. But I think saying the Democrats are evil or the Republicans are evil based on this or that issue, I think is a fool's errand at this point in time. And I want to express my view that I just don't like it. I think it's terrible for society. I think this polarization between Democrats and Republicans, and you can see it with COVID. That's why I said it's the Trump COVID era.
And maybe we can even talk about that with the whole Amendment 5 situation because of the polarization.
How they're selling it, though.
It's historically happened where, we point the finger at the other party when we're trying to get something passed. It's their fault. They're trying to stop us from getting this done, just like we just saw with COVID. Trump said, hey, it's the opposition. Melania, it's the opposition. It's the Democrats. It's those people are trying to stop the vaccine production.
Yes.
And now we have here in Missouri with Amendment 5, we do have Democrats and Republicans fighting about Amendment 5 because naturally Democrats don't want to cut taxes and Republicans do want to cut taxes. However, the caveat to this is that it's not right down party lines. You have, I would say, half or more than half of these people who call themselves Republicans that are part of the grassroots conservative movements that do not support Amendment 5. And just because they don't support that amendment, I've met plenty of people who support Amendment 4 and don't support Amendment 5, Rob. And just because they don't support Amendment 5, they're a crazy, communist, left-wing, liberal Democrat. That's exactly what they're saying.
It's stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid.
Exactly. And that is, if you're not involved in it, you might not see it because you might not be posting that you support A5 online and you might not be getting any of these attacks. But I can tell you that that's the experience that people were telling us was happening. And now that Rob and I are out there talking about A5 and why we support the no vote on A5 for now, not that we support keeping income tax, Rob. That's the other thing that they try to tell us, is that we don't want to eliminate taxes. No, that's not what we're saying. We're saying we should have eliminated the income tax and not try to make up any money. That's the conservative move. That's what a Republican should have done.
Yeah, I was going back and forth a little bit last night with Bishop Davidson. He's the author of A5, or one of the original authors of A5. And that's why I said, his body language and his communication with me leads me to believe that he thinks this is a really good thing.
Me too.
And I even said to him, I said, Bishop, I think you've done everything you can. I appreciate the fact that you're getting out and you're debating these things. People who disagree with you, you're taking their questions. You've done it in, I think, a gentlemanly fashion. I think you'd agree with that. He didn't.
No one has taken the debates with the Shield Maidens, and he finally stepped up and did it there. So
correct. And so I said, I think you've done everything you can. I said, I think the distance that you're going to have to travel is the road of trust. That's the distance. Yeah. The distance is, even if you've got something that is really, really good, this is what happens, Isaiah, when you have a track record of not being honest with the people of Missouri. And I could go on and on about the Republican Party. And hopefully I can get this. Maybe I'll just clip this and just send it directly to Bishop, because I have not had a chance to talk to him. I'd love to have him on the show. But the problem you have is that the people of Missouri have been burned one too many times. It's not that you don't, that you're seeking to do something that is nefarious. It's just that when you add a gasoline tax as a Republican, it's because he mentioned that at the very beginning of the debate with Lisa Panette yesterday on 93.3. The very beginning, she said, what is the holdup here? And he said, I think it's trust. And as he started to explain it, he brought up the gas tax. And I said, yeah, that's a real
what
problem.
I told him.
Did you tell him that too?
That's what I told him.
You can't get away from a gas tax. That's the whole point.
I said, you're here in Franklin County. Do you not realize that these people here don't trust the legislature? And why don't they trust the legislature? Because gas tax Schatz got shoved down our throat. You don't like it? Too bad. He's going to be your presiding commissioner.
Exactly.
That's what we say, right? Oh, Mike Moon, you're going to filibuster it. Hey, buddy. Hey, we need to get you out here.
Well, let me give you just a couple.
That's why they don't trust him, right?
Yes.
And I'm glad he's waking up to that fact. That's a good thing. I'm not trying to say but that's why.
Well, he's a young guy.
He said, why don't they trust him? Why don't they trust him? I said,
you want to know why we don't trust him? This is why we don't trust him.
I will keep the secrets of the House.
And I will keep the secrets of the House.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So we don't know what that means.
Yeah.
So I would say to Bishop, it may not mean anything to the people up in Jefferson City. It may not mean anything to them. But I just want you, from the optics of it, and I'm talking directly to the Republican Party and the good people within the Republican Party, the handful of them. Okay? So if you are taking an oath in the General Assembly, if the Speaker of the House says, we're going to keep the secrets of the House, so help me God, and then you've already have distrust within the body, do you understand how people might go, secrets of what house? Why would you guys be keeping secrets?
Don't you work for me?
Exactly. You may think it's benign, and I understand that you think it's benign, but we don't. I don't think it's benign. I don't want secret oaths and secret societies going on in my government. And when this happens,
I will keep the secrets of the House.
And I will keep the secrets of the House.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We don't want the secrets of the House. We don't want him to have any secrets from us. This is the argument we were making about Donald Trump. All of these things that he's doing, everybody's going, it's 5D chess and it's this and that and the other. I don't want 5D chess. I want him to tell me what's going on so that I can make a decision on how I want to lead my life in this country. I need to know what's going on. I don't need him playing Machiavellian games no more than I want the Speaker of the House, John Patterson, taking an oath to keep the secrets of the House in the House and away from the citizens that he has sworn to serve.
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah, does that make sense? Am I,
Oh yeah, makes complete sense.
I'm a
And
bit preachy at times, and I apologize for that, but I just don't understand how people don't see
and
that.
how did he become the Speaker of the House, being someone who's so liberal as a Republican?
Perfect example, right? Because during COVID, the Speaker of the House in the Republican Party is somebody who wanted to put a sunset on not getting for not allowing kids to have their gender changed when they're 12 years old. I'm thinking to myself, well, as a Republican, what kind of sunset would you want on that? You know,
Yeah.
we're not saying that you can't. If you want to change I've said this 1,000 times. If you want to go from a boy to a girl, or a girl to a boy, or a girl to a cat, or a dog to a unicorn, if you're an adult and you're making those decisions on your own, that's between you, your body, your family, and your God. It has nothing to do with me. I'm fine with whatever you decide you want to do. But when you're talking or influencing the mind of a child to change their gender before puberty, well, then that would be an act of evil for me. So I can't be involved with anybody that thinks like that. I just can't even be involved with them. I think they're nuts. I think they're crazy. I think they need psychological help. That's the way I see it.
Yes.
And they might say, Rob, you're being intrusive. My 8-year-old wants to be a boy. Why are you? He wants to be a boy. She wants to be a boy. He, and you don't know what's going on. Okay, that's fine. I think you need to be in a mental institution. And I think you should be put in prison. But that's, again, my opinion. And I want people in the Republican Party to understand that that's our opinion, and not put somebody who determines all legislation who think he's not really sure yet. Maybe we'll put a sunset on it. We'll see how it plays out just a little bit later. We don't want that. That's not what conservatives think. Same thing with Kehoe. When you add a gasoline tax, that's not what conservatives don't go, how can we get some money out of the population? You know, we have a low sales tax on gasoline. Maybe we just raise that up a little bit. Do you think all the Republicans went, yeah, that's what we want? No, that's not what they wanted. And Dave Schatz was also instrumental in the raising of the gas tax. And then you just extrapolate it out for a little bit, Bishop. And Mike Moon filibustered the appointment of Dave Schatz as the presiding commissioner in Franklin County. And now Dave Schatz is front and center on trying to get data centers implemented, and the entire society is pushing back against them. That was an appointment by Governor Mike Kehoe. That's where the trust starts to erode. That's where people go, wait a minute, what is happening here? What is going on? And you might have got caught in the spokes. You know, he might be right. At the end of the day, Bishop Davidson may ultimately be right. This might have been a really, not a great thing, but a better thing in Missouri. But because of the lack of trust within the Republican Party, you're not going to get any of these things done because nobody trusts anybody. And the language has to be absolute, and there has to be accountability for the people that have pulled the wool over the eyes of Missouri citizens. Don't you think that's the way it looks?
That's what everyone is telling me. Some of my posts are going viral on X with talking about Amendment 5, and that's what everyone's saying. They're just saying, you know, I don't know what they're going to tax, so I can't vote yes. And that's the nature of where a lot of conservatives in Missouri are, is that we don't want to be taxed. And then you're telling us that you're putting forth, hey, we're going to tax you, but we don't know what we're going to tax yet. I don't think that's ever going to sound good to a conservative Republican.
Well, look at the safety cameras that we just had this guy on. If you go to the safety cameras, if you look at Jason Law is pushing for safety cameras.
Yes.
He's running for, and I like Jason Law. I've interviewed him one time. He seemed like a really bright, good dude. I have no problem with him whatsoever. But these are things that erode confidence with conservatives. We do not want to be surveilled by you for our own protection. We don't want to be surveilled. Again, Jason, if you're listening, if somebody puts a camera on the top of my head and follows me everywhere I go and watches every move that I make, it's going to cut down on any laws that I may break. And if you put a camera on everybody's head and follow them everywhere they go, then you're going to cut down on crime. But that's not freedom.
No.
We didn't ask for a surveillance state for our own protection. And you're implementing a surveillance state. And you're not recognizing that abuses could come from anywhere.
Yeah.
You're not even recognizing that these systems could be hacked.
Yeah, that's the craziest thing.
And they don't, you know what I mean, Isaiah? I just feel, I kind of felt bad for Bishop. I felt like he seemed a little defeated recently.
I'm sure he's been working very hard. There's no doubt about it.
And I don't know how everybody else feels. I think people would have differing opinions on Bishop, but my interaction with this guy leads me to believe that, and I think there's a lot of people in the A5, circle of love that really believe that this is great legislation. This is going to be great for everybody. We just need to get this done. Please, 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 because this will be great for the state of Missouri. And then the opponents of it look at it and go, sorry, you missed your opportunity to gain our trust. You're not going to get it with this.
Yeah, we do want to eliminate income tax, but not this way where we don't know what's going to happen, where you're leaving open-ended, like Lisa Panette was saying, these open-ended opportunities throughout the bill.
Yep.
Not even knowing about the language that lawyers are saying is leaving an opportunity for the toll roads.
Correct.
And you're supposed to be the author of this bill who's supposed to be telling us. And that's the point that you made earlier, is that they don't know, they don't write the bills, they don't read the bills, they don't know what they're even is in the bills. And they're out there selling the bills or signing the bills and passing the bills, whatever it is. And it's not like he's a legislative expert. I don't think that every single representative is going to be a legislative expert on how the law works. But if you're out there being the number one salesman,
right,
you should know every single thing. You should have sat down with every lawyer you could have to understand all the loopholes, because
I think he said he yesterday when he was doing that interview. And by the way, where did this Ms. guy come from?
He was an alderman in Wright City.
I like this.
Yeah, he's an alderman in Wright City, and he posted a lot on Facebook.
Yep.
And so he gained a big Facebook following because of that. And then he just stepped down from alderman. I think
That's
he kind of didn't know.
Spot.
Yeah.
His sweet spot is he doesn't entertain me. I listened to him once before when I had that I had to go to court that one day, and I listened to him. For me, I'm just talking about me. It didn't necessarily entertain me, but when he was doing that interview yesterday, if I was the program director, I would say, Ms., this is your sweet spot, brother. You're really good at this. I think both people thought you were gentlemanly in doing it. I thought he moved it along. I thought he stopped it where he needed to do. So just as an observer, I think that Ms. guy could do a really nice job, but I would make his format debates. If he can just create debate for him, I think that is the sweet spot for him. And that's where I would tell him to go, because I thought he did a really, really nice job doing that yesterday. And by the way, watching it on Rumble was horrific. Well, I texted you at the time. I said, I'm trying to watch this on, it's going to take me 4 hours to watch 2 hours, because it's radio commercials and then Rumble commercials throughout the entire thing. It was exhausting. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to take all day just to get through this.
Radio commercials were already bad, right? And then you add in some Rumble commercials, and then the non-skippable ones that always pop up.
2 minutes long. You can't skip through them. You can't skip the commercials. It's
probably an A5 ad, isn't it?
I didn't even pay attention. I think it was something to do with teeth, actually. And I kept watching the same commercial over and over again, the inside of somebody's nasty mouth. I'm like, I don't want to see that. Let's move on. let's move about. But again, I just want to make that clear for the people that really believe in A5 and think that Rob Carter and Act for Missouri and the Shield Maidens and some of these people are on the wrong side of this issue. We may be. I fully admit I don't understand it well enough to be for or against it. I'm just simply against putting forth a framework without a plan and saying, trust me that this plan is going to work out. Me personally, I would never do that with anything in government. Anytime government says, trust me, I'm out. I'm out. I've just seen too much of it at the federal, state, and local level. For you ever to say, trust me, we're going to get this thing right. Don't worry about it. Just give us the authority. Rob's going to vote no. I think that's probably why Bryant Wolfen said I would vote no on this as well. I need more clarity on what's going on. And by the way, Bill Eigel, Steve Ellman, and Jason Law, when they were asked whether they were supportive of Amendment 5, these guys are running for executive, what's it called? Executive.
St. Charles County Executive.
County Executive in St. Charles County. They all basically said no. I think Bill Eigel said I'm neutral on it.
Yeah. Which, I think that's more just because, of course, we want to eliminate the income tax. I think everyone wants to do that. It's just, this is not probably the way we want it to happen.
And that's another bummer. I just want to address that as well. It is a bummer that you don't have something more exciting to vote on.
Yeah.
It's like, this is the best we can do. And I keep saying to myself, why is it what more do you want from the people of Missouri? You have a super majority. You have every statewide office. How much more do you want from us? Does it have to be 100% Republicans to get conservative things done? Does it have to be 100% conservatives to get bills structured properly so we don't have all this wiggle room for the courts to come in and overturn it? How much do you want from us? What do you need?
Yeah.
Elaine says, like I said in the beginning, how much do you trust these people to do what's best for the constituents? And I think that's the ultimate bottom line. And I feel bad I like some of the people that are in the A5 game.
I know Senator Brown. I was so surprised that
I like Brown. I like Keith Lee. I don't know Bishop well enough to say I like him or don't like him, but there's a lot of people in that game that I have a lot of respect for, and I just think they're missing the boat with the trust issue. That's really what it boils down to. For me, I think that's probably where most people are at. They're like, I don't trust this.
Yeah, that's why I'm surprised by Senator Brown. He knows that they don't trust him. Not him particularly, but the government. They don't trust the government. He knows his constituents don't trust the legislature.
They're not buying it.
Yeah, they're not buying. I mean, I told you the temperature of the room in Franklin County when they were here was pretty negative, I would say. And the only people that seemed to be in support in any way were people that were elected officials that are supported by the Republican Party.
Right. And here's Tammy, one of our friends. She says, Ms. This I don't know. What's his name? Do you know his name? He goes by Ms.
Yeah, Ramiz Hakim, I'm pretty sure.
Is right. Say it again.
I think it's Ramiz Hakim, if I'm remembering it right.
I would go by Ms. as well because this would be difficult. But said Ms. did a great job in the A4 debate with Byron Keelan and Ron Calzone. I thought so too. I really think that's the guy's sweet spot. If they make that show about debate, I think he'll do well.
Yeah.
I think if he has to carry an audience for 2 hours, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because he gets into the weeds of some local stuff that I think certain people will like, but I think a broader audience needs to be entertained as you sell in politics. And I don't, that sounds disrespectful and I don't mean it to be. I want to give the guy a compliment because I thought he did a really nice job in my time slot, my old time.
But
slot.
you know how it is, the things that
I know that people leave when you don't entertain them.
Yeah,
We see it. We'll watch it with our own show.
Yeah,
if I'm doing my thing and we're getting into this. You'll see the numbers go up, and then we'll start talking about something that's a little bit more in the weeds, and you'll see it stop.
Yep.
And I still do it because I think it's important for people to get that information. We can clip it and get it out to more people, but entertainment along with politics is just the nature of the game. You have to keep people's attention. That's my take.
Now, last thing I did want to let everyone know, because we're talking about COVID, is I was telling Rob about this morning, but after Dr. Fauci's hearing, now this is something that Rob and I think is just theater, as we always say, but did want to at least bring attention to it that Senator Paul said that he will push for a vote in committee on holding Dr. Fauci in contempt of Congress next week. And he said, as we heard Josh Hawley say, but this is from Senator Paul and other senators saying that we believe that that with his immunity from criminal liability, that he didn't need to hide behind the Fifth Amendment, and that maybe the Fifth Amendment doesn't attach when you have a pardon in place. And that's what we heard Josh Hawley present some case law. That's what typical lawyers do, is they're going to present case law because it's already been decided, and this is a precedent that's been set. And so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And I think it'll definitely be indicative of what's their plan with this whole thing. Because
the plan is to do nothing, Isaiah, because it's the system.
What I've said from the beginning.
I don't know if you know the story, but go into AI real fast, and then we'll let everybody go for the day. But I think this is another story that just, when it was happening, I thought, well, this guy's in big trouble. Go to one of the search engines and say, who was the guy that was sticking classified material in his socks and got busted within the Clinton administration? I can't think of it. I can see it. Sandy Berger, maybe. Look up. Maybe it's Sandy Berger. I think that is it. Sandy Berger. Look up Sandy Berger.
Let's see here. Why do I know Sandy Berger? It's maybe it's because of this. Maybe I know him.
Bill says, would you trust me? And the answer is absolutely not. No way.
Bill just said that him and I are running for president.
I saw that.
Vice president. So
is he the VP or are you the who's
I don't mind.
Who's Batman? Who's
Robin? Doesn't matter to me. I'll put Papa Bill as president.
I like your style.
Sandy Berger. Yep.
Okay, so it's Sandy Burglar. Exactly. So I love it. Sandy Burglar. Now look up the story of Sandy Berger. Sandy Berger went into, now this is I want to say it was after, I can't remember.
2003 it says.
I think it was after 9/11.
Yep, testifying before the 9/11 commission, it said.
Okay, so so what he did is he went in and he was able, so there's documents that are not to be touched. You can go in and review them, but you can't take them out. Sandy Berger went in and took classified documents and rolled them up and put them in his socks and left. Now, if you or I did that, Isaiah, we'd be in prison. They didn't do jack diddly ding dong to Sandy Berger after they caught him trying to steal classified information. What does it say about him real fast?
Yeah. So it says in 2003, while reviewing materials at the National Archives ahead of testifying before the 9/11 Commission, Berger removed classified documents, primarily multiple copies of a, quote, Millennium Alert After Action Review, end quote, report on the Clinton administration's handling of the 1999 to 2000 Millennium terrorist plots. Archives staff reported seeing him take papers out of the secure reading room concealed in his clothing. Accounts described pants pockets, and in some reports in the widely used sock docs, nicknamed socks or around the ankle under a pant leg.
Okay, now let's
destroyed some of those copies.
Can we Wikipedia Sandy Berger? I'd like to know where he comes from originally.
Oh, from school-wise, you're saying?
Not even school. What his is he a Catholic? Is he a Protestant? Is he?
Oh, I can tell you already.
I know what he is too. But again, what is not? Was it the? You think that he was trying to steal information to protect the Saudis, Isaiah?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Probably the Saudis he was trying to protect because Burger sounds Saudi. That's where the Saudis come from. Burger,
Yeah.
Saudi Arabian. Let's read a little bit about him. What's his early life and career? Can you read that for me real fast?
Yeah.
Where did he go?
Where did he go to school? Family.
Where did he go to school?
To Cornell.
He went to Cornell. Okay, that's one of them.
And then he got a Juris Doctor degree from Harvard.
Okay, there you go. I figured it was Harvard, but Cornell's Cornell's in that group too, by the way. It's not one of my main ones, but you see a lot of people from Cornell. So he's of Jewish background.
Yep.
So let's just ask a common sense question. Where's my ABCs? Here we find it. All right, let's just ask the common sense question. Sandy Berger stole information from the archives, classified information. Sandy Berger went in, and he was a member of the Clinton administration. He goes in and he takes up these classified documents, and he rolls. Now he wants to take them. There's at that time, as I understand it, these were the documents. You couldn't go get them anywhere else. These were printed documents that were archived, and now we want to steal historical information from the archives. Sandy Berger puts these things into his socks, into his pockets, and tries to leave and steal classified information from the archives in Washington, D.C. before testifying in the 9/11 Commission. That's kind of interesting. Why would Sandy Berger, who's not Saudi Arabian, as I understand it, Isaiah, he's not Saudi Arabian. Why would Sandy Berger want to steal information from the archives? And then you find out that Sandy Berger is of Jewish background, where a lot of people believe that the state of Israel and big Jewish donors and big people within our government that have dual citizenship between the United States and Israel, a lot of people think that they were behind 9/11. Do you think he was trying to protect the Saudis? I guess that's the question.
Probably not.
I don't think so either. It doesn't really make a lot of sense that he would be protecting the Saudis. Sounds to me like Sandy Berger may have been trying to protect something other than the Saudis, and I'll leave it up to your imagination as to what it was. But there's there's so many stories of this type of operation going on within our government. And as somebody said, nobody's ever held accountable. That is because the people that really run our government, those are their soldiers. Anthony Fauci is a soldier. Isaiah. Where's my ABC?
Oh my gosh, Rob.
There you go.
You ready for this?
Go for it.
In 2000, Berger was presented with an honorary degree from
Harvard?
Tel Aviv University in Israel.
Come on. Seriously?
Let me pull it up.
Double check that and make sure that's true.
Let's see here. Here's the why isn't it pulling up the link? There we go.
Cannot be searched.
Oh, the site cannot be reached. It's an Israeli website.
And Isaiah, if his name was Muhammad, and he was stealing the information, and he was working under Barack Obama, do you think people could see the connection?
Oh, yeah.
But why not with Sandy Berger? Why not with the USS Liberty attacks?
Yep.
Why not with Howard Lutnick? Why not with Jeffrey Epstein?
Here we are, right here.
Why not with Jared Kushner? Why can't people see that? They see that we're under attack from Islam, and yet the hiding of information all stems from a different part of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody notices.
Yep. Honorary degrees from Tel Aviv University. It says the same thing in Hebrew. I can read it. It says Universiteit Tel Aviv right there. You go down here to the names.
Some of these people who have the honorary degrees.
Oh, yeah, I mean, these are all kinds of people we got.
Anybody we know?
I
can't see anything.
Yeah, so maybe someone might
recognize. Angela Merkel.
Oh, yep, Angela Merkel,
Prime Minister of Germany.
Michael Waterman.
She's in the club. Let me see who else there. Hang on, slow it down. You're too fast.
Oh, sorry.
Keep going.
Oh,
Alan Dershowitz. You don't say. Alan Dershowitz, the attorney for Donald Trump in the impeachment hearings and Jeffrey Epstein.
Yep.
But nobody should even notice that connection.
Nope.
Alan Dershowitz, who represented O.J. Simpson, who was definitely innocent. He represented Jeffrey Epstein and then represented Donald Trump in his impeachment trial. But no connection that you need to see.
No, nothing here. Nothing here
at all.
to see.
Let's see who else we got here. Nope. Mark Rich. You know who Mark Rich is? Mark Rich was, do you know who Mark Rich is, by the way?
No.
Okay, Mark Rich, at the time that it happened, he got a pardon from Bill Clinton. And it was a big, big deal because I think Mark Rich might have been in prison for life. Look up Mark Rich and we'll get the story. So it's M-A-R-C Rich. Just look up his background because he got a pardon. And at the time, it was believed that the pardon was purchased from Bill Clinton. And Mark Rich, there he is, gets the pardon from Bill Clinton, and he is now an honorary member of Tel Aviv University.
Wow. It's pretty incredible. Let's see.
Aren't you impressed with my knowledge? Come on.
Oh, yeah. Clinton's final day in office is when he got the pardon. That's what it says. Last minute decision. Bypassed the usual Justice Department Office of Pardon Attorneys process.
That's right.
Interesting. The pardon drew bipartisan outrage. Critics called it an abuse of power and end run around the justice system for a wealthy fugitive who showed no remorse and never returned to face charges, and suggestive of improper influence tied to donations and high-level lobbying. Interesting.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, we could. I mean, there's so many here we could go through forever. I'll just jump down here to 2000.
When you see them, you start to recognize how our government works, and you start to recognize why. You start to recognize that the laws that are being put in place to protect Israeli interests and hide information from the public. If you just roll that up into a nice pie, it makes sense, right? So you have the USS Liberty attack that you and I both know took place, that it was instigated by the state of Israel intentionally, that killed 34 Navy sailers.
Also reported by Haaretz, an Israeli newspaper, now saying that they knew beforehand.
Correct. And 174 killed 34, wounded 174 more. You have to remember what happened after that. As they tell the story, they were told to keep their mouths shut about that story. And they've only told it now just recently. I think they started telling it, but it wasn't organized.
50 years they kept their mouth shut. They didn't even tell their wives, they told us.
Yeah, well, one guy said, I didn't even tell my wife. She goes, I knew. Remember that?
She's like, well, I knew from looking at things online, but he never told me until 50 years.
It's amazing that this is happening right before everybody's eyes. And this is my opinion on it. And I just want to make this perfectly clear. This is not a takedown of Israel. Okay. I just think it is a takedown of our government, who's in bed with intelligence operations out of Israel that are working against our own people. If you tell me that my government set up our own sailors to be slaughtered out at sea, then the government that allowed that to happen and the people that turned their head, they have to be held accountable. And the reason they're not held accountable is because they're dead by the time anybody knows what happened.
Yep. Because
this is how our system works. This is the narrative-based business that we were talking about earlier too. You know, they just what did Owen Schroyer say? Donald Trump comes out and gives a declaration to America that the elections were stolen in 2020, and 2 weeks later, nobody's even talking about it because they're on Anthony Fauci. And the only one who puts the connection together that the elections were stolen underneath Donald Trump, and then COVID happened underneath Donald Trump, is Owen Schroyer, me, you, and maybe 5 people in the entire country. Anyway.
And that's why they call us crazy.
And that's why they have to call you crazy, because they can't refute anything that you say.
Exactly.
All right, let's do Kit's Speed Shop. You have anything for Kit's Speed Shop? I want to give him a shout out.
I actually got I found a graphic that they have now.
Let's have it. Let's do a little Kit Speed Shop.
It doesn't have all the information, but I thought you might have all the information there in front of you.
I got Kit's Speed Shop, where he says where it's fun to go fast. Oh, that's pretty cool. He says Kit does not Start over. Can you rewind that and start over? Yeah, let's pretend that never happened. Kit does antique and classic transmission work in Sedalia, Missouri, in Hangar 5, and is well known for his vast experience and knowledge when it comes to transmission repair. So this is for those people that collect old cars, for people that like to keep cars for a long time, old transmission issues. They bring it into Kit's speed shop, and he takes care of business. He says, no classic car. Maybe you own a plane. You don't own a plane, Isaiah. I don't own a plane.
Not yet.
There are people out there that own planes, and maybe those little puddle jumper type planes.
Yep.
Kit is also a certified A&P and IA, which is everything airplane owners are on the lookout for. And he says, Kit loves what we do. Kit, he kind of laid this out for me. They love what we do on our show. They like that we call out people. They like that we stay on top of government. They like that we're trying to make a change. They like that we're trying to organize people. And we appreciate the support from Kit's Speed Shop. Kit's Speed Shop in Sedalia, Missouri. You can reach them at 660-909-6000. 660-909-6000. And then finally, Isaiah.
You got him in. Did you get him and Rich McQuaid connected yet? Rack Custom Coatings?
Oh, you mean for the hanger? I think his floor's already done. He sent a picture. Remember, we were going
to to give cards out for people that are his customers.
I will do that. Good. See?
Yeah.
That's why I love you. Yes, I will do that. I haven't met Kit yet. Kit's
okay.
Kit is connected to somebody else that we love. So
fantastic.
I rolled the dice on that one. And when it's time for lunch, it's Moe's Pizza. Don't forget, if you're in Franklin County or if you're in Washington, Missouri, you got to get out to Moe's Pizza, a landmark in Washington, Missouri, at the corner of Grand and 5th Street, as he likes to say. God owns the place. I just work here. If you've not been out to Moe's Pizza, you got to check it out. Great family environment. If you bring the kids, you get the pizza and salad bar. I think the kids get to eat for basically nothing. The truth be known.
Should we play our new commercial?
Yeah, you're all. You want to play? Yeah, play this.
Yeah.
Hey, so this was a commercial we did outside of Moe's Pizza. What, like 2 weeks ago, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
All right, check it out. Hey, everybody, it's Rob. Just a real quick shout out for Moe's Pizza in Washington, Missouri. As he likes to say, God owns the place. He just works here. If you're in Franklin County or near Washington, Missouri, you got to get out to the landmark, which is Moe's Pizza. Pizza and salad bar, chicken wings, delicious sandwiches, and the best ice cream. Moe's Pizza. Get there. How about that?
Love it.
I'll get better at that. That was off the cuff too, baby. That was very quick. We actually had people coming in and out, so I was a little bit distracted. I just think it's funny when I watch myself. It's very bizarre. Moe's Pizza in Washington, Missouri. Again, if you have any kind of gathering going on, they have banquet space available. This is where they rock and roll because they make you feel like family when you come in. All kinds of political meetings out there. We're just talking about Bishop Davidson. I know We the People and Tammy Brinkman, they hold a lot of meetings out there. This guy is very heavily invested in just getting out information to people. You know, if you want to be involved in your government, he provides the space for you. Moe's Pizza, banquet space available for birthday parties, anniversaries, political meetings, and Bible studies. Moe's Pizza, great people, great environment, family environment, and delicious food. There they are, Mike and Brenda Johns, my people. Isaiah, anything else today?
No, nothing I can think of. Just get ready for the elections. Got to vote no on 5.
So let's don't let me forget if you can. You know, I'll forget. As Sherry McNeil always says, she goes, "The squirrels got you again today, Rob. Don't let me forget. We got to get Act for Missouri back on Monday because I do want to go through a couple more things with them, and we're just running out of time. So we'll have Act for Missouri on Monday.
Right now.
We've got MMTLP on the show Thursday. Stephanie, she's got a big following on X. She'll talk about MMTLP and what she's learned about.
You put out a promo about that today?
I'll do that today. I promise. You want to put it out on X?
Yes, both.
I'll do
X was going to be the most for us because that's where their MMTLP army is. But
let's see if it gets any traction on X if we talk about MMTLP. Let's see if it gets any traction. It'd be interesting.
Be a good test, huh?
Yes. And you know what else is funny, Isaiah? As I watch people respond to us, it's sometimes 15 and 20 minutes late. Why is that? Do you have any idea?
15 to 20 minutes late on
the commentary.
Well, that's because they started after we've already started. Does that make sense? So they went to the beginning of the show.
They forgot that they're behind?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so then we'll be like an hour and a half in, and then someone comes in and talks about something that we talked about.
I notice it through the feed all the time. Like Thomas says, I forgot about Sandy Berger. Right? That was 10 minutes ago. I just wonder how that, you know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the beauty of, that's the benefit of not being on the radio is that,
I agree with
they
that.
they can go back to the beginning now. They can say, man, what was Rob talking about at the beginning of the show? Why is he talking about this now? They can watch the beginning and get the context versus you turn the radio on and it's like, oh man, I'm already 30 minutes late. I don't know what happened today. You know what I mean?
Our shows grow on Rumble for 2 and 3 weeks
Yes.
afterwards. And you told me that when I was complaining. I said, something's going on with these numbers. You said, well, it's early. I said, well, normally they're 30, 40% higher by now, and they all caught up.
Yeah.
What do you think? People just listen?
It's the vacation time. So this is just,
They get in their
I just
car
know
and
this
they
because
go
I've done
somewhere
digital
they want.
marketing for so long. Everyone's
Yeah.
on vacation right now. That's why we see like Alex Jones, Harrison Smith on vacation. All these guys are on vacation right now.
You don't take vacations.
Yeah, exactly. We can't.
You don't play games.
When our
Even when
republic is at
even-
risk, we can't take a vacation.
Even when we're not doing the show, we're in Washington, D.C. I do got to remind you, the last week of, how does this work? Last week of September, use the first couple of days of October. That is my our 30th anniversary for a bunch of guys that have been taking this golf trip.
No way.
It'll be the 30th anniversary in 2026. I started in 1996.
Very
Half
cool.
of the people that I did it with, because at the time that I was doing it, I'm 25, 26 years old, and the guys I was going to the golf trip with were in their 40s and 50s. A third of them are dead.
Wow.
But the guys that are still going are in their 70s. These guys play golf every day, and they play great golf, and they're in their mid 70s. I got a guy that I used to work with, Frank. He's had cancer. He's in his 70s, and
Wow.
I can't beat him. He's terrific. He'll shoot 83, 84 years old, and he didn't pick up the game until he was in his 50s.
Yep.
Amazing.
That's what I've learned from the older folks in golf is that I always tried to just power it. Rob, I was a fit young swimmer. I was jacked. I had an 8-pack. I could ram this golf ball for 300 yards, right?
And then it goes way right.
Exactly. Phew, phew, phew. And then they're
quick,
like,
yeah.
no, if you hit it 50%, Isaiah, just do 50% power. And you'll just get down the middle, down the middle, down the middle. And I learned, you just hit it, just keep going down the middle, and you'll get there.
My son is very talented at golf. And I said, but he hits the ball a mile. I mean, my son is just long and lanky and can smash it. And I said, and we got to get off, but I just got to remind this. I said, Tanner, the key to golf is to keep your ball in play. Just think of it as like pool. It's your next shot that is the most important shot. So it's where you leave your ball. I said, there are times when you want to crack it because you like to hit that driver.
Yep.
And I said, you're hitting it past positions where you're not even in good shape anymore. Because most people, when they play golf, if you're hitting a shot into a green and you can't reach the green, you want to be around 100 yards out.
Yep.
If you get to 50 or 60 yards out, now you're taking a half swing and you're trying to control your golf ball. It's much more difficult. And I said, you're banging it and you're keeping it in play, but you're banging it past the point where now you're making your shots tougher. And once he started it started to click with him, the game of golf versus the skill of golf, then he started to really score. He just touched 79 down it. He didn't even play very much anymore.
Jeez.
Yeah, he just went down to Lake of the Ozarks with his buddies and shot 79 opening day on a very difficult course down there. I said, look at you go. I like it.
Great.
All right, everybody. Now I'm just rambling on about my life. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. on the Rob Carter Show. Have a great day. Isaiah, we'll talk to you soon.
See you guys.
See you.